as my guy Jaevon Toddy likes to say. What is going on, everybody? Episode number 19 of Stats Over Politics. As always, I am Shaun making his triumphant return alongside my guys who held it down, Jaevon Toddy, Kevin Dent. Kevin, how are we doing? I saw that you were the host last week. How'd that go?
Oh man, it's going, man. That was my second time doing it. I feel like I did a lot better than I did the first time. It's hard to kind of know when to let stuff go and let it keep rolling or cut it short. So I'm learning, but hey, man, that's your role. I was just filling the shoes, man. I didn't do anything that Shaun could do, but we made it work.
I appreciate you holding it down for me, brother. Jaevon, how are we doing?
Kevin sucks, man.
So you're saying you miss me? Is that what you're trying to say?
That was a synopsis after the first episode. Me and Cody had a conversation. He was like, "You got to figure it out, bro. If we ever have to do that again, you got to figure shit out."
No, Kevin, he did pretty cool. He held it down for sure. But Shaun he went to school for this, so he went to school for it. So
I did. I appreciate you guys with the kind words. Just for all of our loyal listeners, I missed last week because my mom, she wasn't feeling well. Had to make sure to be there, be her right hand, and take care of her. And I appreciate the guys.
I was trying to talk about wrestling because Shaun went to go see wrestling. He went to go see wrestling the other week. So.
Yeah, so I finally got to meet my guy James on last Sunday, and then I finally got to meet my guy Julian this past Wednesday. Got this shirt at the AEW show in Sacramento last Wednesday. That's where I got to meet Julian, see James again, and it was great to catch up with not only friends but some loyal listeners. Jaevon.
Hey man, Stats Over Politics wrestling segment featuring Shaun Holko. Coming soon.
Oh man, I mean WrestleMania season's coming up, so maybe that would be the only appropriate time to have maybe a 5-minute segment, but we'll leave it there because guys, we got plenty to talk about this week on episode number 19. And I will just say, as Jaevon rubs his hands together oh so deviously, that our guy Garry, he isn't here again this week. He had to work again, but he will officially be back again next week. So make sure to catch Garry on next week's episode as we got all four of us back together. I just wanted to make sure to mention that he's hard at work. He's not slacking off. He is hard at work. Got to make that money. And we'll see Garry again next week. So guys, this week we have to talk about history being made because we haven't seen the Sacramento Kings. And Kevin, I love that beautiful throwback jersey. Show our viewers on YouTube and Twitter once again. Just for all of our audio-only listeners, Kevin is rocking a Mitch Richmond jersey, and it's that throwback half black, half purple jersey. Is that the checkerboard at the bottom too?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, I love it. I love it. Checkerboard on the sides, so perfect. Last time I think we saw the Kings actually wear those was with Boogie Cousins when they rocked those retros, but I mean, Kevin, you're rocking the jersey of the greatest Sacramento King of all time. I just wanted to catch up real quick on what I missed. Number one, DeMarcus Cousins is the third best King of all time, right behind the guy that Kevin is wearing, Mitch Richmond, and I got the Chris Webber jersey in the closet. I can pull it out. I got
C-Webb number one?
No. Mitch number one, C-Webb number two, and then Boogie number three. That's my take, at least. But you guys already covered that. You guys already spent plenty of time on that, so we don't have to spend any more time on that. I just wanted to get my take across for the public to know as well. Boogie's 3 all time. All you old heads can at me at Shaun_Holko. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention is, I called it. Derek Carr to the Saints. I told y'all he was gonna. They could have traded him. The Raiders could have traded him, but instead of letting them get draft compensation and having him be locked into whatever deal he would have had to sign if he was traded from the Raiders to the Saints, he said, "Nah, I'm gonna explore my options, and then I'm gonna go to the same team that you wanted to trade me to, anyways." Which I just thought was perfect. It was petty, and those are the two things that I wanted to talk about real quickly before we dive into things.
Had to get it out.
I had to. Those were as I watched last week's episode, I was like, okay, those are the two things I have to get off my chest. Everything else we can leave in the past. But anyways, guys, I wanted to get to the history that I was alluding to because Kevin, you're wearing that beautiful jersey, and it wasn't back to Mitch Richmond the last time the Sacramento Kings won 40 games, but it has been a very, very long time. As Jaevon shows us with his hands, 4-0, the Kings have won 40 games as they accomplished that feat on Saturday night in Phoenix against the Suns. Without Kevin Durant However, the Kings got the job done. Doesn't matter. They beat the team that was on the court that night. Kings get 40 wins for the first time since 2006. Kevin, you and I, since Garry isn't here right now, you and I are the only true Sacramento Kings fans on this broadcast. I mean, Jaevon, he considers himself a Celtics fan and a Kings supporter, but getting to you first, Kevin, what are your thoughts on the Kings?
We already got 40.
Winning 40 games for the first time since we were in elementary school.
Hey, man, it's a great time to be a Kings fan, man. Like Shaun mentioned, we saw a lot of the bad days, a lot of gloomy nights, a lot of, picking the guy in the draft right before the superstar. But now, things are turning around, and like you guys mentioned, 40 wins. It's been a while. So I'm happy to be here for it, man. And just for Mike Brown to be leading the squad, they rallied behind him and playing behind our two All-Stars, man. I would never think the Kings, I could say that in one sentence, but I'm happy to be a Kings fan, and we're rolling, man. Toddy's trying to jinx us already, but we're rolling.
So, Jaevon, you and I were but we were the two on this podcast to say that the Kings would not be a top 6 seed. Right now, after the whole Ja Morant situation that you guys covered last week very well, right now, the Kings have a chance to finish the regular season as the 2nd seed in the West, which my brain is about to explode even saying that.
Don't sleep on number 1. Don't sleep on it.
That's it. What are we 6 games behind? 7?
5 now after last night. Nuggets have lost 3 in a row last time I checked. As Nipsey Hussle.
That'd be nuts. So, oh my gosh.
Hold on now.
So Jaevon, I mean, Kevin and Garry back in December and then also back, I think, in February, the last time that we checked about this, they both said that the Kings would be a top 6 seed. You said that the Kings would be a top 6 seed, Jaevon, when we revisited this topic back in February. But thinking back on your take back in December, what do you think about the Kings potentially being the number 2 seed? And then on top of that, winning 40 games.
Yeah, I was talking shit to Kev about us winning 40 games. We're losing to the Rockets right now. Just wanted to put that out there.
And we is the Celtics for everyone who doesn't already know.
We're down like 15 by the Rockets, but they'll catch us lacking on an off night. It's Monday. No, I want to kind of go all the way back. Let's just circle all the way back to the 40 wins summer league. I think when we kind of all revisited, we were asking how many games do we think the Kings would win? And I was like, I think the Kings could win like 40 games, saying that pretty, confidently, not knowing that, there's 18 games left and the Kings are already at 40 wins. And there's a chance that they can finish with 50 wins. And I don't even think that's out of the realm of possibility. I think the Kings,
not at all.
I think the Kings can get to 50 wins this year. This would that be the most wins in history? Have the Kings ever won 50 games?
They've won 60 games back in those prime years of the early 2000s when we were damn near in diapers. That's the last time that they were in the 50-60 win range.
Okay. But just you look at this team, De'Aaron Fox, we could go back to the Suns game. The Suns have usually owned the Kings throughout the past years, and even when it was just when I say just Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, and CP, let's not forget that team did go to a finals a couple of years ago. Just getting that win on the road. Kessler Edwards had a freaking phenomenal game coming off the bench. I know he only had 12 points, but it was a very impactful 12 points against steals. I think he got the little defensive player of the game chain. They gave that.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, Kevin! Oh, Kevin, no!
Oh, we lost him.
All right, yeah, go ahead, Kevin.
So going off what he's saying with Kessler Edwards, man, he was coming in and did his thing. He held Devin Booker to 25% shooting when he was guarding him. We needed that long wing defender, like Toddy's favorite team, the Celtics. We're going to have to, if we want to go far, we're going to have to guard those wings. And Kessler Edwards, he might not do a lot for us on the offensive end, but like Toddy said, he had a loud 12 points with the corner threes and just doing his thing. But I'll let Toddy go ahead and continue his thing, man. Happy to have you back.
Yeah, welcome back, Jaevon.
I didn't have to jump out this time. I don't know why. It's been acting weird. Gotta hit up Xfinity, see what the hell's going on. As far as just the Kings, I think the Kings right now are at a point where it's like, oh, can they beat top teams? They've beaten the Nuggets. They've beaten the likes of Luka and Kyrie when they were playing together. Albeit it was their second game, but they beat them. They've beaten Memphis. Like they've beaten top teams. This is not a team that is just like, you're supposed to beat the team that you're supposed to beat. No, this is a team that's second in the West. In the Western Conference. This is a team that has the potential to be a number 1 seed, that has the potential to get to the Western Conference, has the potential to win all of these things. This is a real basketball team. This is a real basketball team, and I think a lot of people are just stuck on the old Kings last year, a couple years ago, when the Kings weren't really able to make things happen, and they didn't have that chemistry back then. But now you get a full season of De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, and
oh my God,
Yes, and
he can't even finish his thought, Kevin.
Man, but yeah, having those 2 All-Stars, man, since the All-Star break, the Kings have scored 133, 176, 124, 123, 128, 134, 123, 122, 128, and they were 8-1 over those games. The Kings have scored 120 more points or more in 8 straight games. This was this 23rd time in NBA history, and it hasn't been done since the Nuggets did it in the 1983-84 season. So the Kings, man, we can score with the best of them. Our defense is coming, but I think we're going to be able to make some noise in the playoffs, man. We can score with the best of them.
It's crazy. And Kevin, the best part about this week is, even though the Kings have been doing this for months and we've been seeing it because we're in the minority of people who actually watch the Sacramento Kings play basketball. But the thing that I've loved the most about this week is that the Kings are finally getting the recognition from the national audience. Bill Simmons and Ryan Russillo opened Bill Simmons' podcast today on The Ringer talking about the Kings. And Bill Simmons had to address his tweet from November, 4 months ago, which my friend Matthew Pearson, he brings up all the time. Anytime Bill Simmons tries to give positive reinforcement to the Sacramento Kings, is Bill Simmons said 4 months ago, should the Kings just consider giving up on Fox and trading for Russell Westbrook? Like, that was a real tweet from Bill Simmons. And now he's finally showing them the respect alongside plenty of other national media pundits like a Stephen A. Smith. Kendrick Perkins saying nice things about the Kings is nice, but I don't want it to be the kiss of death. And so that's what I'm concerned about the Kendrick Perkins take. And so I just want to get to a couple of YouTube comments real quick. First of all, make sure while you're here, if you're tuning in on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up. Please help us continue to grow. We really appreciate it. And it continues to help the channel grow, which we really appreciate. And we see those numbers. We see the analytics. Kevin does really hard work on our YouTube, so we want to continue to help it grow. Please give us a thumbs up. It really helps us a lot. And just want to shout out Uncle Manny for always tuning in every week. Your boy is going to be back next week. Manny says 40 wins by the Kings is amazing. I cannot agree more. And so, Kevin, I want to ask you the question that Manny posed. Does any team fear the Kings going into the playoffs? Because that's really been the discussion with the national media now, that it's talking about, okay, can the Kings make a conference finals? Then that leads to the question of, do other teams fear the Kings? So take that as you may.
Like I mentioned, with all those numbers, man, from the All-Star break, man, we're playing our best basketball right now. And that's what you want to see out of a playoff team, to get rolling right after the All-Star break, get that time to kind of get away, decompress. Then once we get that ball rolling, we're rolling. I think a lot of people have to fear us, man. Just like I told you, we can score at the best of them. There's not going to be a lot of teams that are going to outscore us. If you're going to beat us, you're going to have to probably score 130 points. We might not defend the ball as the best, but, with Kessler Edwards showing up and Davion Mitchell, Trey Lyles will get in there and bang every now and then. Metu goes in there and plays the big when Sabonis is out. And we also have Holmes, who's been there, who held it down for a long time for us. So we have the length, we have the depth. So I think a lot of teams have to scare us, man. And I think Sacramento might be I guarantee you'll be crazy playing in Sacramento. Crazy.
That's the real key thing about 2 versus 3, because I think in the last couple of weeks, we have all come to the realization that the Kings being a top 3 seed is a real possibility. But now with the situation with the Grizzlies, them moving up to 2 is even more of a possibility. And that 2 versus 3 difference is significant, because that's the difference between having 2 playoff series with home court advantage or just 1. Because if you're the 3 seed, then you got to go against the 2 seed most likely in the second round. And then that's when you lose the home court advantage. As we know, I mean, the national audience hasn't really realized this in about 17 years, but the Sacramento Kings have one of the best fan bases in the NBA. If the last 16, 17 years can't prove that, with the numerous sellouts, even hundreds of sellouts over the last 16 years, when the team has been dog shit and almost moved away 5 times, if that can't prove it, then we'll just have to prove it for you coming up in April, right, Kevin?
Right, man. We're gonna have to prove everybody wrong. They've been doubting us all year, man, and we've been steadily climbing, and we've held down the third for a couple weeks. And like you mentioned with the Grizzlies situation, that kind of opened the door for us to slide in the second. And like Toddy mentioned, first isn't out of the realm of belief. We're not we're not too many games behind, and the Nuggets have been playing bad as of late. So you never know what we might be able to get that one seed, and then you think the Grizzlies, or not the Grizzlies, Timberwolves were bad. We gonna have a national holiday, 3-day weekend. No school, everything shut down in the city. It's going to be nuts.
Okay, so before we move on from the Kings, as our guy Jaevon deals with some technical difficulties for the audio-only listeners, is that I want to ask, because obviously, Kevin, you are located in Oregon, but let's just say hypothetically you lived in Sacramento. Would you consider paying $800 for a row R nosebleed seat to the opening playoff game coming up in the first round?
Hey, man, I think you guys saw that tweet from me, man. I gave him the meme with taking the money out the pockets. Take it. I got to go there. I told the wife she'll have to figure out rent. Well, she'll have to. I got to go. There's no way I can't go, man. For a nosebleed, that's pushing it, but it's history, man. It's going to be a sellout, and just because we're good, they're going to be even better or more expensive. I was talking to my mom the other day, man. In elementary school, they were giving away free tickets, begging people to come to games, and now you're going to pay $811 to go to a Kings game, man. It just shows how far we've come, and I got to make it a one, Shaun. I got to.
Yeah, I definitely got to be there too. And Uncle Manny, he brings up a great point before we bring our guy Jaevon back in. He says the playoffs in Sac will be crazy. I'm old enough to remember the last time. I have watching the Kings since they've moved here. So Manny's been rocking with them since 1985. So he knows what playoff basketball in Sacramento could really be like, and what it has been. Jaevon, we were just about to move on from our topic here, talking about the Kings. I just wanted to pose the same question that Uncle Manny asked of us to you, Jaevon. Do any teams fear the Kings going into the playoffs? Why or why not?
They're not going to, just because of lack of playoff experience, lack of just, they haven't been there, they haven't done anything. Mike Brown has playoff experience. I just think De'Aaron Fox is leading the league in like clutch points. So I mean,
by a lot.
When the going gets tough, and having to figure out the game slows down in the playoffs. So when guys are going to be when you need a bucket, De'Aaron Fox is going to be your go-to guy. And I think a lot of stuff for them is going to translate in the playoffs, albeit they are a lot of people are going to have them as dogs. I think the Kings are going to win a playoff series. I don't think they're going to be one and done. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to at least win a playoff series. So a lot of people are going to, want to be, we get matched up against the Kings. It's the Kings. Yeah, bro. Like, I can't wait. Oh, yeah. Kings, don't worry about it. Yeah, we're going to beat them. So I think a lot of people are kind of like, all right, you sure you want to play the Kings in the first round? And I know it's crazy to say that, but that's the way that the Kings have been playing all season long. I wouldn't want to face the Kings in the first round. Point blank, period.
I wouldn't either. And I think that it's a lot of those teams in the same division as us in that Pacific division, like the Clippers, who don't even know if they're going to make the playoffs right now. You have the Warriors, who are currently playing on the TV in front of me against the Suns. And then you even got teams like the Suns, who with Kevin Durant, they feel a lot better than they currently do, even though the Suns team as is really nice. But you add Kevin Durant. I mean, we only saw that for 3 games before he damn near slipped on a banana peel in warmups. And he didn't, for the people who don't actually know, he didn't actually slip on a banana peel, but I mean, the way that the clip looked, it looked like he damn near did. And so now let's just get to that, guys. As Kevin Durant, he sprained his ankle and he could miss the remainder of the regular season with that ankle sprain. Kevin, I know that you guys were talking about Kevin Durant and the new look Suns last week, and now, unfortunately, he already seems to be out. And so what are your thoughts on Kevin Durant's injury and how it could impact the Suns, not only in the regular season, but in the playoffs potentially?
Unfortunately, as it sounds, man, I think this is perfect timing for him to get injury. We saw when he was plugged into the puzzle it seemed like that he's been there all season. You know, Kevin Durant's not a guy who's going to chuck a bunch of shots. He's super efficient. He's going to shoot the right shot. He's going to wait for the ball to come around with him. We've seen it since his Golden State days when he trusts his guy, he's going to swing it around. He knows the ball is going to come back to him. When the Suns played the Mavs last week, I believe, they were literally saying, whoever the fourth guy is and Chris Paul, we're not even going to guard you. So I feel like this time with Kevin Durant gone, they get to hit those shots and get those shots, because then when it comes down to it, that's what everyone's going to do. They're going to, you know, no matter if it's Terrence Ross or Larry Shampert, I think they're just going to leave him open. I think they're just going to leave him open and say, you know, Damon Jones is going to make you guys beat us. So this time they get to get those shots and get those game time reps, and Devin Booker continues to play on a tear, man, but they definitely can't afford another injury. I can tell you that. So just moving forward, they got to get Kevin Durant back as soon as possible, but definitely big time for Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton to step up.
And Jaevon, given Kevin Durant's ankle sprain, what are your thoughts on the state of the Suns?
Well, I think the Suns will be fine as far as they're not going to drop too much. They still have Devin Booker, a guy who's a top 10 player in this league, I believe. He went on a kind of span where he was, you know, I'm going to give you 44 points. I'm going to give you 35. I mean, if you're getting that Devin Booker, I mean, your team should be fine. Albeit their bench is great, but we kind of already knew that going into it post Kevin Durant trade. But I still think, you know, this team is lethal, and, you know, obviously with Kevin Durant on the team is favored to come out of the West. Like Kevin already said, Kevin Durant is a team that's very plug and play. He's a guy that can come in and give you 23 points in 22 minutes in his first game ever, albeit it was against the Hornets, but it just comes to show of just a guy who's just about buckets and can get a bucket kind of whenever that he wants. He's 7 feet, can pull up from 35. I mean, it's with the handle, it's hard. I mean, he's the Slim Reaper, man. But at the same time, you know, we don't know how far this team could go without Kevin Durant in the playoffs, because they gave up a lot to get him. And, you know, when you don't have a Kevin Durant, there's no Mikal Bridges, there's no Cam Johnson on the court. Those are, you know, guys that you kind of relied on, that, you know, not really to, you know, rely on to score, but, you know, those filler points that can get you, you know, 15 points, that can get you 17. I mean, hell, Mikal Bridges has been on a freaking rampage in Brooklyn. So we see what he can be as a number one option. But, you know, Kevin Durant not being on this team, I think he'll be ready by playoffs. He should be he should be reevaluated in about 2 weeks. So that's around when the playoffs start. So it's really just all about chemistry. And I think it's going to be tough to build chemistry in the playoffs. That's my only thing. Building chemistry in the playoffs is not the right time to start building not the right time to start building chemistry. I mean, the Kings, like we already said, the Kings are second. They've been playing together all year. And chemistry is going to be a huge factor when the playoffs come around.
Yeah, that's without a doubt, because we've seen teams in the past, like the Clippers, for example, that have just kind of coasted throughout the regular season. Okay, they did enough to get to the playoffs, but then they thought that they could just put it all together in the playoffs. And then you end up blowing a 3-1 lead to the Nuggets in the semifinals because you ended up not having team chemistry and you relied on your talent by itself to get you to that point. And so that's very key for the Suns. I agree with you, Jaevon, where on one side, I do agree with both of you to Kevin's point, where if this were to happen, this is the best case scenario for the Suns. That is very true. But also, this was the time that they were going to try and focus on building that chemistry, as you mentioned, Jaevon. And we've talked a lot about other teams like the Mavericks, who they've been without Luka and Kyrie for the past couple of games, and they're just missing out on more opportunities to build chemistry, because we all think that these two teams, at least talking about the Mavericks and the Suns, are going to get to the playoffs. But it's about what you do once you get there. It's not just about getting there. And so we shall see what happens there. Real quickly, guys, I just wanted to ask. Well, it took me a second. It took me a second to get what I wanted to get to. But you hear that?
Oh my God.
I was really hoping to have a much smoother transition. It just didn't work out that well because I didn't have what I needed to in front of me to be able to click on it, get to the smooth transition. All right, for those of you who are new to the program, this music means it is time for Shaun's Pop Quiz. I know you guys missed me. I know you guys missed this last week, so it's time. And gentlemen, this week isn't about it's not about the sports that you don't watch. It's more so to see if you've been paying attention, because this week's episode of Shaun's Pop Quiz is in regard to NFL free agency. So I have a question for each of you about NFL free agency to see if you've been paying attention today. And then I also have a bonus question, which would have gone to Garry, but he isn't here this week. He misses out on the point. But real quickly, I wanted to get to the leaderboard. Standing at the top of the leaderboard is Kevin with 9. Right behind him is Jaevon with 8. And our guy Garry is sitting in last with 6 points. But hey, Garry makes good predictions. He wants you all to remember that. He doesn't get the pop quiz answers right, but he gets his predictions right. Garry just wanted to. Exactly. He just wanted to remind everyone of that. All right, guys. So, Kevin, since you are still in the lead, I'm going to start with you once again.
So it's lonely at the top.
It must be. It must be, because you've been there for a while. So I'm going to turn this down just a little bit on the instrumental. Okay. So here is the question, Kevin. This tight end was traded for a 7th round pick today to be reunited with his former offensive coordinator. I'll read it one more time to give you a chance to think about it. Jaevon, if you want to try and steal, you will have an opportunity after Kevin gives an answer. I'll read it one more time, Kevin, and then I'm going to need an answer. So this tight end was traded for a 7th round pick today to be reunited with his former offensive coordinator. Kevin, I need an answer.
Couldn't even give you an educated guess.
Okay, so we're just gonna punt on that one.
Yeah.
All right, Kevin misses out on the point. Jaevon, do you have an idea to try and steal?
Jonnu Smith.
Ding, ding, ding! Jaevon got it right.
I did know that.
Jonnu Smith was traded today from the New England Patriots to the Atlanta Falcons for a 7th round pick. He now reunites with his former offensive coordinator when they were together in Tennessee. Now Arthur Smith is the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, and he brings in Jonnu Smith, his former Pro Bowl tight end, for a 7th round pick. And with that, Jaevon gets the point. I mean, to be fair, Jaevon has the Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter notifications like on 24/7, so he better not. Jaevon, I'm counting on you to get this next one now. I mean, this next one is your question, Kevin, I'm gonna tell you, pay attention.
It was made
you
for
can
me.
Steal this one. This next one was actually made for Kevin, but I didn't want to give Kevin a toss-up because that'd be unfair. So Kevin could have a chance to steal it though. So let's see. All right, Jaevon, as you and Kevin are now tied, you have a chance to surpass him right here if you get this one right.
Here we go, baby.
Here it is. This former Buckeye safety signed with the Saints today.
The Saints.
And I'll read it one more time. This former Buckeyes safety signed with the Saints today.
Can I get the year he played at Ohio State?
No.
You cannot. You cannot.
What difference does it make?
I think it makes a substantial difference. There's a difference between Malcolm Jenkins or someone else. It's obviously not Malcolm Jenkins because he already played for the Saints.
You said he used to play for the Saints, or he signed with the Saints?
No. Okay, I'll read it one last time. Here we go. This former Buckeye.
Oh, okay.
Former Buckeye safety signed with the Saints today. Jaevon, I'm gonna need an answer.
Damn. Why am I going blank on this one? Let's go with this. I don't know.
Give up?
Yeah. No idea.
We're gonna punt?
Yeah.
All right, he's punting. Kevin, do you have an answer for a steal?
Absolutely not.
All right, well, I'll give you guys a hint to see if either one of you can get this. So, this safety, who's a former Buckeye and signed with the Saints today, he started 48 games and had 5 interceptions over the last 3 seasons with the Cincinnati Bengals.
Jesse Bates.
I said it first, for sure. I said it first.
Jaevon actually said it first, but that was actually wrong. That was wrong. It was wrong. I don't think Jesse Bates was ever at Ohio State.
Bates went to the Falcons.
Okay, wrong NFC South team. Yeah. I mean, you guys, if either of you want to take a stab at it,
no. It's
just move on to the bonus. He don't know.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
You don't know? Von Bell signed with the Saints today.
Oh,
Former Ohio State safety Von Bell, who played the last 3 seasons with the Bengals, started 48 games, had 5 interceptions. He signed with the New Orleans Saints today.
I saw that too. I hella saw that. That's crazy. I didn't know where he went though. That's what sucks.
I mean, to be fair, Jaevon, you pretty much see like every notification, so it probably got lost in the shuffle, I'm sure.
Lost in the shuffle, baby.
All right, guys. So, bonus question. This one, I'll take off the ticker because this one is not related to the NFL. This one is related to the NBA and college basketball. And since this is the bonus, this is supposed to be Gary's question. I'll just toss this one up. The first person, because I'm going to be looking at my screen on the other screen. So, first person I hear is the first person I will give the nod to. So, here's the question.
Breaking news. Houston Rockets beat the Boston Celtics.
Damn, we tried to come back too. I saw that.
Damn.
I saw that they fake way trying to come back too.
So, Kevin, in other news, the Celtics suck. All right, here we go. That was actually pretty good timing, Kevin.
JB,
this former NBA player who was previously a head coach at Pacific in Stockton agreed to a 4-year deal to become head coach at Georgia Tech.
Damon Stoudemire.
Oh, there you go. Kevin got it right there. Ding, ding, ding. Damon Stoudemire, former Celtics assistant coach. That's why I said it was good timing. Former Celtics assistant coach Damon Stoudemire since 2021, who he came to the Celtics after he was at Pacific for 5 years. Now he is going to be the head coach at Georgia Tech for the men's basketball team. Kevin gets it. We stay even. Both guys get a point this week. And you know what that means, Kevin? You are now the first person to get to double digits, and you remain in the lead. Congratulations.
Only at the top, Toddy.
I didn't even hear the question. It's whatever. It's whatever.
Hey, man.
Hey, man. I just want to know, because I agree with one of our most loyal listeners, Kevin. I just want to know, are you really a Buckeye fan? Because you didn't get that Von Bell question, Kevin. What's going on?
Bro, I had no idea. I'm not going to lie to you.
When did Von Bell play at Ohio State?
It was like 2015, 2016. It might have actually been or like right around there, because I think Von Bell was like near those championship teams when we won in 2014, 2015. So gotcha. Yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a minute.
Urban years.
Yeah. We can look, Kevin. We can look back on those years fondly without thinking about Urban Meyer, or at least I can. I mean,
Michael Thomas said y'all sleep on Urban Meyer, man. That's what Michael Thomas said.
Michael Thomas. I was about to say Michael Thomas has been sleeping too much himself. He's been on the sidelines a lot.
Shit, sleeping on all that money. Sleeping like a baby.
Hey, well, I mean, real quickly, I will say I briefly talked about Derek Carr going to the Saints. The Saints kind of look all right. They got weapons. I mean, between Kamara, Olave, Michael Thomas, if he plays,
they might cut that boy.
They're not gonna cut him. They gave him the key to the city already. You gotta wait for that contract to sign. I fill out.
All right, guys. Well, now let's move on. We're gonna get to some NCAA March Madness to close things out, but in between, sandwich in the middle, we're gonna get to some football, because we will be having, for those of you who don't already know, we will be having a special edition of Stats Over Politics coming up this Thursday at 7:30 p.m. The 3 of us will be there. Hopefully, Garry will be there as well. And you can catch us talking about the latest news in NFL free agency coming up in the middle of this week on Thursday. But today, we're going to get to all the news that has already happened, because the legal tampering window opened today, guys, in the NFL with free agency. And a lot of news has broke. Sorry, Kevin, you'll have to sit through this for the next 10, 15 minutes. But we're going to start with 49ers free agency news, because there has been a lot of news when it comes to the San Francisco 49ers. And let's just kick things off. I'm going to go in relatively chronological order.
We got Darnold, baby.
Woo! Yeah, we got our quarterback. Yeah, let's go. I'm being extremely sarcastic for those of you who, I mean, my voice is extremely monotone, so I feel like I have to let people know I'm being sarcastic half the time. All right. So the moves that the 49ers have made in the last week go as follows. 49ers gave Colton McKivitz a 2-year contract extension. They gave him that contract extension because he's going to compete for the right tackle job now that Mike McGlinchey has left. The 49ers, they re-signed safety Tayshaun Gibson. Mike McGlinchey, aforementioned, he signed with Denver. Almost went to Chicago, decided to go to Denver. Jimmy Garoppolo. Jaevon, I wish I had the Zoom background ready to go.
Zoom background.
I would click the famous Jimmy Garoppolo pointing at you Zoom background. I might have to flip it on once I get through this rundown, but Jimmy Garoppolo, it was time finally. Jimmy Garoppolo finally moved on as he has now signed with the Las Vegas Raiders as Jimmy Garoppolo agrees to a 3-year deal worth $67.5 million, $34 million guaranteed. And the final move to happen today with the 49ers having players leave was Jimmy Ward decided to leave, and he follows D'Amico to Houston, and Jimmy Ward signs with the Texans as that news broke about 2 hours ago. So that's the most recent news. Jaevon, we will, Jaevon, get to the huge news of Sam Darnold signing with the 49ers, also Devon Hargrave. We're going to get to those two additions in a moment, Jaevon, but I want to talk about the players that have left. So Mike McGlinchey, Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmy Ward. We lost both our Jimmies. So what is your thoughts on the guys who have left the 49ers in free agency?
Well, McGlinchey, I knew that he was kind of like set to get like damn near $100 million.
We weren't going to pay him.
For some odd reason, I was like, yeah. He ain't getting that from us. He'll get it from somewhere, as Kevin would like to say. He ain't getting paid from us. He ain't getting it from us. Jimmy G going to the Raiders. It was kind of match made in heaven. With Josh, being paired back up with Josh. Their experiences back in New England, and him getting drafted, and Brady damn near kind of shipping him out like, you're drafting my replacement, blah blah blah, and all this other crap. And now he's, back with them. And that Raider offense is actually really stacked. If you look at it, they got Devontae Adams. Josh Jacobs has come back on the franchise tag. You got a Darren Waller who's a stud when healthy. And, a lot of people forget about Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow was a guy that was Derek Carr's favorite target. So maybe we might see that with Jimmy Garoppolo, albeit Devontae Adams will be expecting the ball 10 times a game.
Half.
This Raiders defense, we know, is trash, so they were never really good. So we'll see how good that Raider team will stack up in the already stacked AFC. Jimmy Ward going to the Texans kind of hurt me a little bit. He was really good at nickel for us. He said on one of his Instagram lives that he was talking to Shanahan about he wants to go play back. He wants to play safety and all this and that and the third. But Jimmy Ward was kind of getting beat playing at safety. Shanahan said to Jimmy Ward, it was like, do you want to go back on the fucking bench if you want to play safety? And he told him to that straight up. So that's why I got to be like, hey, it's all respect there. But Jimmy Ward thrived, I thought, in the nickel when he was playing at nickel. He got an interception, a key interception in the playoffs against the Cowboys. I thought he was in the second half of the season. It was kind of when we were testing him out at nickel. So he was playing really well there. But obviously he's going to go play with D'Amico. He loves the scheme, obviously, and think he'll fit there. There was a lot of Niners as far as staff members and a couple of players are kind of following D'Amico Ryans, and so we understand that being that the great team that we are, we're going to lose players in the offseason. I don't know if Kev is really used to that, losing good players.
Not at all.
But
it's a new thing to him. It happens to us every offseason. Hey, Jaevon, we don't just lose players. We lose coaches too.
We lose coaches.
This is new to Kevin.
Yeah, this is new to Kevin. He's not used to this. So when we losing good
Frank
players,
Wright did get hired as soon as we won, but we can keep going. We can keep going.
I thought the guys that left, they were pretty impactful. Obviously Jimmy Garoppolo, I think, were probably the most impactful. He kind of got us back to relevancy. During the Shanahan era is kind of what kicked it off. We were Nick Mullins and C.J. Beathard and Jesus Christ, Brian Hoyer was our quarterback. So that year when we ended up getting Jimmy Garoppolo, I think it was 2017, we ended up winning those 5 games. And he won 5 in a row. Everybody saying, "Oh my God, watch out for the Niners." They're 5-0, but we were already dead last. We were going to be picking second in the draft, and people were like, "Watch out for the Niners next year." So
what's that like?
So
I was going. I just want to say I was going nuts for that entire offseason. I was like, he is 5-0. He is perfect. He just walked into the worst team in football and went undefeated. I was going nuts.
It was insane. So,
good memories.
I would love to see what he'll look like if he can stay on the field. With Josh McDaniels and the Raiders offense. It'll be exciting to see. It'll be different to see him on a different team.
So, Kevin, what do you think about some of the departures from the 49ers?
What was the deal that Jimmy got?
Jimmy got a 3-year deal worth $67.5 million, $34 million guaranteed. So less than Derek Carr was commanding.
Yeah.
So my question to you guys is he just a bridge quarterback? Do you think they still draft a quarterback?
Without a doubt. Yes, he is 100% a bridge quarterback. He's literally going to be the exact – you should just call him Jimmy Bridgewater because he is going to be a bridge quarterback. Like
he knows he's a bridge quarterback too.
I mean, they're not going to give him a year and tank for Caleb?
Oh, Jaevon, that's a question for you, not me.
I think the team that's kind of like en route to get Caleb Williams right now is probably the Tampa Bay Bucks because Kyle Trask is their quarterback. The Houston Texans are picking in the top 2. The Carolina Panthers are
CJ Stroud.
The Carolina Panthers have moved up to 1. The Jets are trying to get Aaron Rodgers as we speak. So there's not really, it's kind of dwindling down for as far as teams that needs quarterbacks. I mean, not the Panthers, the Lions are kind of out there in no man's land a little bit with Jared Goff as their quarterback. The Raiders now they're going with Jimmy Garoppolo, a guy that can win games. So I doubt that they're trying to lose games and tank for Caleb. But I think if we were to, or the Falcons are probably in there too. The team I think right now, March 13th, 2023 is going to get Caleb Williams is probably the Tampa Bay Bucks right now.
Okay, so Kevin, let me actually rephrase that question to you because obviously Jaevon and I are the major homers. Jaevon more than me, but we are the major 49ers homers here. And so let me ask you a rephrase question here. So obviously we're going to get to the Eagles in a moment because we got to pay respect to your team. They are the NFC champions. And so we're going to get to the departures that have happened with your team. But looking at it from an outsider's perspective, should us 49ers fans be concerned about these departures like a Jimmy Ward, Jimmy Garoppolo, Mike McGlinchey most specifically?
I'm not going to lie to you guys. Mike McGlinchey, Toddy had mentioned that into the group chat.
Trash.
Couldn't even tell you who that was. I had to ask. Because
I wasn't gonna say
all these gyms and then no picture, and I was like, damn, he didn't get a picture. Like, what's going on? Adam didn't give him a picture. I don't even know who this is. But I think
that's all you need to know.
Like Toddy mentioned, the biggest thing for you guys leaving is going to be Jimmy Garoppolo. Just having that veteran presence. That guy who has done
Kings
it before.
Up 3 at the end of the first quarter, by the way. Sorry, go ahead, King.
Yeah, so he's been there before. Having that veteran presence for these young rookies, it could be good and also be bad. A lot of people see it as a bad thing, him just clipping at your heels, every mistake you're looking over your shoulder. So I think just having that veteran presence got to go a long way. And I don't know if Sam Darnold's going to really be able to bring that. He is a veteran, but his career has kind of been on the downhill as of late. So we're going to see, that hopefully you guys doesn't come down to QB3. But definitely Jimmy Garoppolo will be the biggest departure for you guys.
Well, I mean, this past year we saw it get down to QB4. And so let's hope it doesn't get to Sam Darnold. And so, Jaevon, now let's focus on the additions rather than the subtractions. So the two biggest moves for the 49ers, obviously bringing back to Shaun Gibson was a big move because now we shore up the two safeties, putting him alongside his buddy in Talanoa Hufanga. They also keep Colt McKivitz, so then they have some offensive line depth with the departure of McGlinchey. But most importantly, Jaevon, the two signings from today. Number one, getting a new third-string quarterback. Sam Darnold goes from 3rd overall pick to 49ers third-string quarterback. We see the 49ers do this before with another quarterback from the 2018 draft when the 49ers did that with Josh Rosen. Now they do it with the other quarterback from LA in Sam Darnold, who now comes in to be the 49ers third stringer. I'm not mad about it. I saw the signing. I was like, you know what? That's a solid third stringer. I'm not mad about it. And then we got the big news of today, Jaevon. The news that Kevin doesn't want us to talk about. The news that he won't even make eye contact with you as we are trying to talk about this. Something crazy just happened on Kevin's screen.
Sabonis just punched out poor Bobby.
Ah,
I'm
nice.
sorry, Reporters.
No,
Oh
you're
my
good. I
goodness.
wish that I had cable because I have the Warriors game on in front of me streaming instead of the Kings. I need to just get cable. Anyways, so Jaevon, the big news of today wasn't Sam Darnold. It was the 49ers agreeing to a 4-year contract worth $84 million with Javon Hargrave, former defensive tackle for the Eagles. In that $84 million, $40 million of it is guaranteed, and Javon Hargrave had 11 sacks with the Eagles in 2022. So what do you think about these additions, Jaevon?
By the way, Kev, I just saw that dunk too. By the way, yeah.
I got to pull it up on my tablet.
So, yeah, I was very shocked. I was actually shocked that this move was happening. I didn't think that we'd be sniffing around for top defensive linemen in the league. Kevin refuses to admit this, but Javon Hargrave is one of the best D tackles in the league. Especially not named Aaron Donald. Let's give you a couple of numbers here. According to PFF, he's third in pass rushing grade, third in total pressures, third in pass rushing productivity, and then fifth in pass rush win rate. Javon Hargrave is a absolute stud. In the playoffs, he was a guy that, alongside Hassan Reddick, was causing a lot of havoc on the D-line. He's a guy that it's giving me 2019 vibes just because of the team that we had kind of set up as far as the D-line goes. DeForest Buckner, D Ford, Nick Bosa when he's a rookie, and Eric Armstead. Now it's going to be Eric Armstead, Nick Bosa, and now Javon Hargrave coming up the middle and just causing all kind of havoc. And then you got Bosa coming on the outside to collapse. So I think this is going to be a team that's going to be feared in the D-line. Our D-line is usually something that we've always prided ourselves on. I mean, the Niners have the best defense in the league last year, and they got better. So, giving him, I didn't think we were going to be in the defensive tackle business in this offseason. I wasn't expecting us to go after a guy like him of that caliber, but it was pretty good to see that the Niners, went out and got a guy like him. Albeit he is a little older in age, but he's still one of the best D tackles in the league for sure.
So, Kevin, Javon Hargrave leaves your Eagles and he signs with the San Francisco 49ers. Apparently, he had higher offers, but he wanted to go and play with Nick Bosa and Eric Armstead.
I saw the Browns were in on him too. Yeah.
Hey, man. Thank you for your work. We didn't meet with him for a reason. There was no way we were going to get fooled into giving him $84 million. I know you guys are real. I mean, don't get me wrong. Jaevon Hargrave, great defensive lineman. But I don't know if a lot of people know this, but he played in Philly before last season. Everyone sees the 11 sacks and loses their mind. He's going to be 30 years old. Everyone keeps saying, like, oh, the defense is just jumping deep, great defense to great defense. We're comparing 44 sacks to 70. It's not the same. He's going to have to step up now. He's getting older in age. He's no longer going to be able to be
Does he really have to step up, though?
He's not going to be the number 3-4. He's going to have to be number 2 for you guys.
Eric Armstead has a word for that.
Yeah. But go ahead.
Oh, man. You know what? I was going to get into this, but I'm so happy you brought it up. Eric Armstead, 0 sacks this year, 6 last year, 3.5, 10, 3, 1, 2, 2. So,
hey, Kevin, I'm glad that you mentioned the numbers because if you actually watched the game, then you would see the impact that he made, and you wouldn't just be worried about the numbers.
0?
If you saw how many sacks he had a chance to actually get, but then they threw it away at the last half second. Like Eric Armstead is an impact player. Let's not just look at the box score.
Bosa got sacks. I'm just saying, hey man, you just got to get the tackle. Don't come at me because your man got 0 sacks. Hey man. So he's going to have to step it up. And, for you guys to pay him that money, he is now the 3rd highest paid defensive tackle over DeForest Buckner, Chris Jones, Jonathan Allen, Vita Vea, and Kenny Clark.
The guys ahead of him are Aaron Donald and Payne.
Durant Payne.
And Payne, yeah. So, I was telling the guys earlier, man, I really hope we can, keep this thing going for about 2 years, because 2 off seasons from now, we'll be like, well, if the Niners cut Jaevon Hargrave, we'll save so much. So we'll be right back down this road. But Jaevon Hargrave, man, you're gonna be missed. We drafted a replacement for this same exact situation. That's why we didn't really have to offer him anything out the door. He knew his time was up after
How
the
many
Super
sacks
Bowl.
you have for y'all last year?
11.
Okay.
So, as the number 4. So that's a hell of a thing, for him to not be the main focus point of the defense. But now, like I mentioned, it ain't going to be like that over there. Coming off 11 sacks, it's going to be Bosa number 1, and kill shot for 2 is going to be Hargrave.
That gives him more leeway, because Bosa's going to see all the double teams.
He's playing now. He gets to play alongside the defensive player of the year.
The other three guys ain't also 10+ sack guys, though. Is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Eric. All I know is Eric Armstead is an impact player. He may not put up the numbers, but he's an impact player.
We were talking about Kinlaw like he was going to be this guy, and now.
Oh, okay. Oh man, Kinlaw. All right, Kevin.
51 minutes in, and we're not even talking about Kinlaw. So I'm just saying, man, this defensive line. Toddy's talking about Kevin. I can see it now. Who's the 4th guy? What's going to happen there? Who going to play? Toddy? Who?
We're probably going to trade Kinlaw.
Earlier you said you're gonna get his 5th-year option, Toddy. What's going on, Mr.
I don't know about that. He can't stay healthy. He can't. Yeah, and the thing that's so disappointing about. Go ahead, Jaevon.
Yeah, I get D Ford vibes. We paid him a ton of money. 2019, he was kind of in and out, but he was an impact player for us. He was more of a third down pass rusher, but he couldn't stay on the field. Same with Kinlaw. We wasted a 1st-round pick on him, and just hasn't really been able to stay healthy. The Niners usually try their hardest to keep their guys through injury. Jalen Hurts has been a guy that the Niners swore on off of one preseason game, and he got hurt repeatedly throughout the off seasons. Jason Verrett is a guy that can be a Pro Bowl type corner, but is a guy that can't stay on the field. So it's not like the Niners don't try for these injured guys. They usually give them chances, but usually it's when you're beating a dead horse, it's kind of just like, all right, we kick the tires on them. So as far as Jaevon Kinlaw goes, I mean, they've tried they're going into his 3rd year, 4th year. So the Niners
I think this will be his 4th year now coming up.
Yeah. So then I doubt the Niners pick up that option for him.
Yeah, Kevin, I will fall on the sword that is Jaevon Kinlaw. Excuse me. Now we got a better Jaevon, because like Jaevon Kinlaw, man, like the thing that he is most notable for in his 49ers career is beefing with Grant Cohn, a 49ers reporter who's not a great reporter, but that is what Jaevon Kinlaw is.
Grant Cohn, by the way,
he's just not good. He's just not good at his job. Like,
it's funny.
If you think of like Stephen A. and Kendrick Perkins like hottest takes, Grant Cohn is doing that every day with the 49ers. He's just slinging heat for basically. And so anyways, I don't have much respect for him, but that's the thing that Kinlaw is most known for during his 49ers tenure is telling Grant Cohn, bro, you want to see my nuts? I'll show you my nuts. Like, that's basically what Kinlaw is most known for.
I'll send you the stream after the podcast.
Yeah, Kevin, you have to see it and hear it for yourself, because I didn't do it justice. But anyways, that's what Kinlaw is most known for, because as Jaevon alluded to, like, he hasn't been able to avoid those knee injuries. And the knee injuries is what was flagged before the 49ers even drafted him. They took a leap of faith. They had just traded away DeForest Buckner, looking to draft his replacement with that 1st-round pick they got from Indy. It hasn't worked. So now, whether if you want to say that they did or not, the 49ers overpay for Jaevon Hargrave. But, if that moves on from the Jaevon Kinlaw experiment and just say, okay, we were wrong, we should have kept Buckner, because, now that deal that Buckner has is less than Hargrave as time has passed. But the difference is that when the 49ers needed to pay DeForest Buckner, that was right after they had just paid Jimmy Garoppolo. Now the 49ers have not only one, but 2 quarterbacks who they have as options for their starter on rookie contracts. And the one thing I did just think of, and we can move on, Kevin, because I know that you're ready to talk about your Eagles and you're tired of talking about our 49ers. But the one thing that I have just thought of is that in the whole Trey Lance versus Brock Purdy debate, I am on the Trey Lance side of it. But I will say, Brock Purdy being 1 year younger when it comes to contract-wise, that could be a factor, because that's 1 more year of a rookie deal. John Lynch could be like, hey, if they're at the same exact level, we're going to go with Purdy because he has one more year of team control. That's the thing that scares me. But, I just hope that they go with the best quarterback no matter what. Jaevon, real quickly, did you have any final thoughts on the 49ers?
No, I thought, we had a solid – this one, we won't really be in free agency news as far as I'm concerned. This would probably be our biggest splash, if that makes sense. I mean, albeit it was one of the bigger splashes in free agency period, but I don't think you'll see the Niners really in free agency news that much. We'll be probably a little bit more heavy into the draft because we got a bunch of picks.
All right. Well, we will wait and see for that. Just real quickly, I wanted to make sure everyone make sure to subscribe on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow us on social media on Facebook, Instagram. Well, actually, we're going to get a Facebook. Haven't got that yet. But on Instagram and TikTok at Stats Over Politics and on Twitter, Stats or Politics. And so I just want to get to a couple of these YouTube comments real quickly before we move on. Sorry, guys, we don't have any Cowboy segments this week, but we will acknowledge your comments. Uncle Manny says, shocking news.
They're into somebody. Who was it? The Cowboys were. They were into.
They're into DeAndre Hopkins.
Bobby Wagner.
Oh, okay, and Bobby Wagner. All right. Okay, so Manny, maybe they get one of those, as he says, shocking news. My Cowboys have not done a thing. And also want to tap in with Julian. Shout out to Julian. It was nice to meet you. He says, what's up with the guys? Jerry still making no moves. I mean, Jerry does what Jerry does.
Be patient. Odell's coming.
And Jerry loves leftovers, according to Uncle Manny. So we shall see what the Cowboys do. And if the Cowboys make any moves in the next 3 days, then we're going to be talking about it on Thursday night. So make sure to tune in for that here on Stats Over Politics. All right, Kevin, it's your time. It's your time. It's time. I'm not going to sing my song that I sing after the ball, but I will play a little bit of an instrumental behind it. So, the Philadelphia Eagles, they, Kevin, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that they've signed anyone, but they have lost some players. So, they lost Javon Hargrave.
And they're losing them by the minute.
Yep, and so then they also lost linebacker T.J. Edwards, who the Bears signed to a 3-year deal. The Raiders signed former Eagles safety Marcus Epps. Jaevon, you said that Darius Slay requested a trade apparently, and now it seems like other players are going to leave. So, Kevin, I'll give the floor to you. You can stop my nonsense.
Fly, baby.
Darius Slay did not request a trade. He wants an extension, and the Eagles said, "You're 32, man. There's the door. Go out there and get us another offer. We'll see." But he did not demand a trade. He did not demand a trade.
Thank you for correcting that.
The team said, "We don't want you to be."
That's not what we said at all. That's not what we said at all, man. But just like with Javon Hargrave, man, T.J. Edwards, man, thank you for all you done. I'm gonna just remind you guys, last year wasn't his first year as an Eagle. So there's been a lot of bad time for 5-7. I've seen it all. So more power to him. We didn't meet with him after the offseason, so he knew his locker room, cleaned it up, man, and next guy's coming in. Marcus Epps signed with the Raiders. Didn't even know he got signed today. Thought he had to let me know. $8 million, man. Hey, more power to you, brother. We wasn't giving you that, so
how much get you money? Say $8 million.
$8 million, yeah.
Okay.
4 guaranteed, so it's probably just 4. But hey, man, more power to you. Go play in Vegas. We met with Bradbury and Chauncey. We weren't able to meet the extensions, but there's still more time. Bradbury said he'll give us the pleasures of matching offers. He said he'll bring it back to us. He wants to play there, man. Say Chauncey, I've been talking to Toddy about this all week, man. He wants $19 million. That would place him as the 3rd highest paying safety behind Derwin James and Micah Fitzpatrick. And for someone who's been hurt a lot, he's not getting $19 million from us. So if you want to come back, man, we can figure something out. We can make you, 5, 6, but 3, no one's going to pay you that, man. People are referring to him as baby Jamal Adams, man. He gets hurt a lot, but he wants his bag. He played, played like 10 games with the last year. He missed a lot of time. But in those games, he did come up with 6 picks that kind of put him in this position to make the market. Excuse me. I think we should have re-signed him as soon as we got him in the offseason. But how he does and there's still room for them to come back. The Eagles have some holes to fill this offseason. So we're going to have to figure out Nakobe Dean's going to have to step up. That's the reason why we didn't have to really sweat TJ leaving. Nakobe Dean that Georgia defense produces pros, man. So we're just gonna have to see if we can plug them in there with Javon Hargrave. Out with the old and with the new. We got Jordan Davis. We drafted him for this exact reason.
He was
so we'll be fine, man. I think we're just gonna fill these holes. We're definitely gonna have corner and secondary problems. How, you may ask? Perfect. We're gonna get into this more. I had a whole spiel going, but just like Jalen Ramsey tuned in last week, Austin Eckler, man. I know you're tuned in, man. I know you want your money. I know it's LA. I know it's in the dome, man. You're nice and pretty. Don't got to get your nails wet.
That ain't the defense.
You can come over to the link, man. We need a running back. You can come over to the link, man. We're gonna do some things. We're gonna do some things. And me and Toddy were talking about it earlier, man. Me and Shaun, the realist of the podcast, think it might be a possibility.
Yeah.
Mr. Carter, falling to 10. Mr. Carter. So we have that in a glass box. This is break if all things go to hell. If he falls to 10, I don't care about our secondary needs. I don't care about our linebacker needs. O-line, I don't care.
Hey, Shaun,
break in case of emergency.
The draft.
Jalen Carter, if he can fall to us, man, we're gonna be fine. And that just feels another, not even a hole that we have, but that would tell Fletcher, have a great retirement, man. You did a lot of great things for us as an Eagle.
He don't retire.
If we bring him in, he is, unless he's gonna come and mentor. But hey, man, we got things to do.
Jaevon, real quickly before we get to the potential top 10 in the NFL draft, because I know you want to give your take as to why you think Kevin and I are wrong for thinking that's a possibility. But real quickly, I just wanted to mention the fact that Jason Kelce is returning for his 13th season as the Eagles center. That's good news for Eagles fans. And so I just wanted to mention that real quickly. I've been listening to their New Heights podcast with the Kelce Bros. I really enjoy it. And so congrats to him for coming back for another year. So now, Jaevon, you say that Jalen Carter, who before all of this news that was going on with the Georgia football team, and for those of you who don't already know, basically after the Georgia championship parade, them celebrating their second championship in a row, one of their players and one of their team staffers died in a car accident. And Jalen Carter was linked to that accident, saying that Jalen was racing in his own car against the player in the other car with the staffer. And that is how he has been implicated in this tragic event. And so now Jalen Carter, a guy who went from being pretty much the unanimous number 1 overall pick in a lot of people's minds when the Bears had the number 1 overall pick, and we'll get to the Panthers trading for it later on. But when the Bears were the team with the number 1 overall pick, it seemed like Jalen Carter was the guy. Then he fell even lower, even out of some people's top 10s, out of some people's first rounds. Kevin and I, Jaevon, think that Jalen Carter getting drafted 10th overall by the Eagles is a real possibility, but you don't. So tell us why.
Who's in the top 10?
Okay, so I'll read you some of the names real quick. So you want to know the team names, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got Carolina at number 1 now after they traded with Chicago. You got Houston number 2, Arizona number 3, Indianapolis number 4, Seattle at number 5. That's Denver's pick, but Seattle's picking there. The Lions at number 6. That's the Rams pick, but the Lions are picking there. Raiders at 7, Falcons at 8. The Bears are now at 9 after trading with Carolina, and Kevin's Eagles are at 10. So tell us where you think Jalen Carter goes and why. Oh, well, hey, Kevin.
Hey, Mr. Carter.
Right when I had a Jaevon specific question. There we go. Hey, he's back. All right, so Jaevon, can you hear us? Can you? No. Oh, well, he was back for our audio only listeners. He was back on our screens, but I think he left to rejoin. He will be back with us again soon. But Kevin, I had a question just for you that I wanted to ask because, as we know, you are a noted Eagles fan, as it's well known, but we also have a lot of Eagles fans who are a part of our audience, and they all enjoy listening. They all enjoy your takes battling against Jaevon and I as the 49ers homers. So as an Eagles fan, Kevin, I have one question for you, and that is, are you concerned about the Eagles remaining free agents? Because, there he is again. Real quickly, Jaevon, I was about to ask Kevin about his concerns about the Eagles' other free agents that are still out there, but real quickly, I want to get your take on the Jalen Carter situation.
I mean, Carolina quarterback, Houston quarterback. Arizona's probably going to trade the pick because they already got a quarterback. Indianapolis quarterback. Seattle, they just signed Geno. Pete Carroll did say that he's connected to the quarterbacks in this draft in a recent press conference, but I wouldn't see why Seattle wouldn't go after him. Detroit is a team, they just added Hutchinson, a guy you guys are very familiar with, Michigan Wolverine.
Yes, thank you very much.
Why not put Jalen Carter on the inside, the same defensive line with Aiden Hutchinson? That would be insane. The Falcons they need a lot of things. So, I mean, the Falcons they could pick kind of whatever.
Quarterback.
You could, starting with the quarterback. Chicago could even double back and get Jalen Carter. Just you're seeing how aggressive that they kind of are in free agency today. I wouldn't be surprised if they would, if he were there at 9, snag him. But if he does somehow magically fall to the Eagles, which I think he'd probably be gone by then, unless other things kind of come out, we don't really know, the more specifics of kind of what went down. He did go to jail for it, so that's one of the things. But I think Jalen Carter doesn't make it past probably the Lions.
Okay. And so, Kevin, what's your rebuttal to that?
Lions might be trading it for Lamar. They don't need a DN. They don't need a D tackle. And honestly, if he falls to 8 or below, man,
you guys might trade up.
How we done some shit. If he thinks that's the guy, we traded up for Jordan Davis. We traded up for Schmitty. If he thinks that's our guy, he'll go and get him. But even if he doesn't fall to 10, I think we'll be fine. But I'll go into that more and the holes we got to fill.
Yeah, they got a lot of things to fill.
Yeah, for sure. And real quickly, just as a quick side note, I got this Warriors and Suns game in front of me right now, and Klay Thompson has 28 points, and there's 4 minutes left in the first half. So Klay Thompson is absolutely cooking. Could be a 60-point night for Klay Thompson as I speak about it, as it happens right in front of me. Anyways, so real quickly, before Jaevon fell in and fell back out of the stream, I was going to ask Kevin about the remaining free agents that exist for the Eagles. So
CJ,
so some of those names, Jaevon, that remained for the Eagles are James Bradbury at cornerback, CJ Gardner-Johnson at safety, Miles Sanders at running back, Isaac Seumalo at offensive guard, Fletcher Cox at defensive tackle, and Kaiser White at linebacker. So, Kevin, are you concerned about any of those guys leaving? And if you are, which guys do you have to keep if you only got to keep a couple?
CJ.
You should have stopped up to Bradbury. But, yeah, the rest of those guys, man, more power to them.
I saw Bradbury's kind of out there looking at other teams, too.
Paid. Yeah, Bradbury wants to come back, man. He gave us the time to match it. He'll give us the time to sit down and match it. I think he really wants to come back. We got something for him, second team All-Pro. We got something for him. It ain't top. It ain't 25.
15.
I think it all depends on Chauncey, man. I think Chauncey's gonna get that slap in the face.
Government name.
That's my man's. That's my man's. 19 mil. Like I mentioned earlier, Derwin James and Mika Fitzpatrick. Like you not that, bro. You not that. But if you're gonna take less to go play somewhere, you might as well come back to Philly. Might not be 19. We can throw you 16. You be around for a while. Throw you 16. You never know. Keep doing your thing. You give us a full season.
17 and a half.
Never know, man. Fuck out of here. But like I said, if you want to go play somewhere and win, you might as well come back to Philly. The one guy that I think we really need to bring back, I would say, is like you guys have mentioned, Chauncey. He's the youngest out of the group. I feel like he's really getting in 25. He's really kicking into the prime of his career. He's a guy who could play all over the secondary. He's in the Saints. He was a primary nickel. Coming over to Philly. He was able to fill that slot for us as a safety. So he's a guy that we can move him all around the field. So he could definitely.
That comes with more money. Him being able to play multiple parts of the secondary. That's
hey man, go get it. Go get it. Go get it. Let me see. Bring it back to the table. A check to say 19 on it. Then we can talk. But, I think that's going to be our biggest one. Chauncey is going to be our biggest free agent. How we're going to fill these holes, like I mentioned, we do have number 10. If we're lucky enough for Jalen Carter to come in, that sets our plans back another year. But Jalen Carter is a phenomenal player. Christian Gonzalez, a corner from Oregon. Joey Porter, a corner from Penn State.
That's what I think y'all gonna get.
Getting that secondary help, man. So if we're not able to re-sign Bradbury but bring back Chauncey, then I think one of those rookie corners to come in and Slay to mentor them. Be a guy to help. And if he wants to go, man, like I told Toddy, you got a second for us? It's all yours.
I told him. I said Ramsey went for a third. I said we got a fourth for you.
And Hutchinson had more picks than him, so I'm not surprised he went for a third. And none of us know the tight end who got sent over there.
Come on, man.
So hold on.
I'm just
what
saying.
I don't understand is how Kevin flips on these guys. Because
he does. So quick,
last week he mentioned earlier, and I don't think I missed it. He mentioned earlier exactly what he said to Jalen Ramsey last week. He was like, "Hey, Jalen Ramsey, come play over at the link. We'll make it nice and warm for you over here in Philly. Come over here."
Blank check.
Yeah, and now he gets traded to Miami, and he's like, "That's why Aiden Hutchinson had more interceptions than you. We didn't want you anyway."
That's not what I'm saying. The reason I said that was because Toddy said they got a third for Ramsey, and Ramsey's better than Slay, so that's why he said a fourth. And I was like, that's why, you got a third for him. Aiden Hutchinson got more picks than you, dog. He played DN. They came out and made it public that they wanted a first and a second. Me and Toddy were going back and forth, man. Like, we got 30 for you. We got if you want to come sit in Philly, we got 30 for you, but we're not paying you after the year you just had. Darius Slay, coming off a Pro Bowl season, being 32 years old. All guys are going to come out and say, I can see myself playing at this high level for a couple seasons to come. That's a promise that he can't keep. We don't know, with older age, you get hurt, things like that. We have to do what's best for the Eagles. But the one guy we have to bring back is Chauncey. But if it's 19, then, assalamu alaikum.
Hey, CJ is doing good. I told Kev, CJ is posting on Twitter goodbye. Like, hey, Philly, it's been real, man. He's posted highlight tapes on Twitter. Hey, Philly, I love you, man. I love you, Philly. Like,
day one free agency, no Chauncey news. I'm just saying, no one's bringing that 19.
Free agency is a long period, sir. This is just the first. This is just the first one.
He gave us goodbye a week ago. You think he'd be ready for it? I'm just saying. Day one came around and no Chauncey news. We'll see tomorrow. We'll see. We might talk about Thursday, but you never know.
And that is exactly why, in addition to today's episode, we're going to have our special bonus episode on Thursday so we can cover everything that happens in the next 3 days, because the NFL free agency window officially opens on Thursday. And that's when we're going to see deals go from being proposed to being finalized. We're going to get into all of that coming up on Thursday. And Jaevon, by Thursday, half of those guys that I just named that were Eagles free agents will be on other teams. So we can talk to Kevin about that too.
Have fun, Miles. Who are the rest of you guys? Isaac Samavo, Oregon State guy. Have fun playing wherever you're going to play.
What about Fletcher Cox? That's the Eagles legend.
Fletcher Cox, he's in the same. I think he's honestly like Kelsey. He's either going to retire or come back. I don't see him wanting to play anywhere else. So that's why I'm not really in the. Like, even with Kelsey, I wasn't concerned about it because I'm not worried about them playing in another jersey. It was just them hanging it up or not. But what are you saying?
Hey, Kev, so how many first-round picks y'all got? 2, right?
Yes, sir.
So you got pick 10, and what was the second pick?
Thanks to us with that fucking Trey Lance trade.
Yeah. You said 30, right? Do the Eagles look at Bijan Robinson at number 10? 10?
No, you don't. Nah, bro. This is 2023. We don't draft running backs in the first round.
Nah, we'll draft one in the first round with 30 for sure. But
30.
Bijan is a different type of guy.
Hey man, you gonna be different somewhere else. It ain't gonna be Philly, man. We have too many holes. We I think we're under their impression. With Kelsey coming back, we're bringing back the number one line of football. We could put one or three of us back there at running back and be successful. So I think we're kind of under that narrative, and we do it by committee anyways. So why bring in that guy to, be the bell cow back when we do it by committee? We have Kenneth Gainwell coming back. Hopefully we re-sign Boston Scott. I know that's the name you guys didn't mention, the giant killer, so if he comes back, that'd be great. But, if not, man, more power to you. I hope you all go and make that money, especially you, Miles. You did a lot for us. You said on draft night you was going to take us to the bowl, and you did, man. So, yeah, but you can always come back for a cheaper deal, man. You might not be able to retire your mom like you want, but
oh my gosh,
keep going to the bowl.
So, real quickly before we move on to the rest of the NFL news, league wide, I just wanted to say for the last time, probably regarding this Warriors game, they just went to halftime, and the graphic that they showed going to halftime said Bucks Kings showdown. I don't think I have ever seen a Kings game teased to be talked about.
Kings up on the Bucks at halftime, by the way.
Up 9.
By 9. Love it. Absolutely. File that under things that I love to see. All right, guys. Well, now let's get to the other big news in the NFL and free agency, but also just in the NFL offseason. And let's kick things off, not free agency specific, but something that has happened in the NFL offseason that was big news this past week as the Bears traded the number 1 overall pick in the 2023 NFL draft to the Carolina Panthers. They traded it for a package, just the number 1 overall pick, for a package that includes the number 9 and 61 picks in the 2023 draft, a first-round pick in 2024, a second-round pick in 2025, and star wide receiver, DJ Moore. And I will keep my opinions and analysis on. No, he didn't. No, he did not. Unfortunately, that was not one of the many from wide receiver U. But anyways, so I will limit my analysis on this. All I will say, guys, is I'll throw this to you first, Kevin, because the big news for me with this is that, number 1, the Bears have decided to keep Justin Fields as their starting quarterback of the future. That's number 1. Number 2, they just got him a new number 1 wide receiver because no disrespect to Garry Love and Chase Claypool was not and now they got a number 1 wide receiver in DJ Moore. So what do you think about this deal, Kevin? Did the Bears win the deal? Did the Panthers win the deal? What's your take on it?
Oh, man, the Bears fleeced them. The Bears took everything and more. You mentioned DJ Moore coming in with 5,201 career receiving yards. As of right now, at 25 years old, that is number 1 in Bears history. So he's coming in and doing his thing, like Justin Fields, he got his A.J. Brown, his Stephon Diggs, his Jamar Chase. He went out there and the Bears said there's a lot of rumors speculating if the Bears were going to go with the quarterback. But they doubled down on Justin Fields, man, and said, we're going to build this offense around you, and we're going to bring that number 1 guy. Like you mentioned, they have Chase Claypool, Darnell Mooney, Cole Kmet, who showed a lot last year in his rookie season, and Khalil Herbert, DJ Montgomery in that running game. And then Justin Fields in that running game, for him to have 1,000 yards rushing.
Running game.
Yeah, he was running game, but
hey, don't disrespect David Montgomery, Jaevon. David Montgomery and Herbert were putting in work.
Justin Fields was averaging more yards than them in like the last 8 games of the year.
But he didn't do it by himself, is my point. Kevin, please continue.
But everyone's expecting him to make this Jalen Hurts kind of jump. Let's slow down, guys. It's still Chicago. It's still Chicago. They still have a lot of other holes. So let's slow down on that. But I think this is definitely a move in the right direction. And they definitely have an Eagles kind of like move. They have 2 first-round picks next year. So if Justin proves that he isn't the guy, Toddy's a guy, the next Patrick Mahomes is coming in. So you never know. That Panthers pick could be a high pick. So they could end up with number 1 again next year. So I didn't think about that. I definitely think the Bears fleeced them, and they'll have those 2 first-round picks if Justin isn't the guy. But they've been doing their thing, and I'm excited to see what it comes for them.
I did not think about that. That's a great point by Kevin. Yeah, because we've seen that just where teams end up sucking like the Broncos did. The Broncos were so trash that they finessed out of that Russell Wilson trade, and now Seattle's picking in the top 5 and they made the playoffs. We've seen the Eagles finesse the Saints, getting all the way to the Super Bowl, and now they're picking in the top 10 somehow. Usually those teams that are, get to the Super Bowl pick at the end of the first round, but now, these teams now, these general managers now, Ryan Poles, Howie Roseman, are those guys that, wheel and deal at, the trade deadline, try to get these guys, and then, being able to compete year in, year out and be able to draft in the top 10 of an NFL draft is unheard of. But kind of going back to what Kevin was saying, I've never heard anybody say anything about Justin Fields making a Jalen Hurts like jump. I didn't see anything about that. I think Jalen Hurts was a better passer than Justin Fields was. Like, if we kind of compare them from year 1 to year 2, Jalen Hurts was kind of already progressing. From year 1 to year 2 for Justin Fields, we didn't really see any progression. If anything, he could have gotten worse.
And Matt Nagy as a coach.
Nagy, we understand that, but It does. A lot of it does have to do with where you're drafted, the situation you kind of get drafted to. Eberflus is a defensive-minded head coach, so there's not really anything there's not really, he doesn't have an offensive mind really like that in the building, I would say. But we can't say he doesn't have help. Darnell Mooney is a guy that we thought would be a number one. He's definitely a great number two. DJ Moore is a guy who was catching passes from Baker Mayfield, from Sam Darnold, from hell. It could have been from freaking Steve
PJ
Young,
Walker.
And everybody. He was catching passes from any and everybody. Me and Kev are probably throwing passes to him. But he's steadily averaging 1,000 yards. So he's a guy that is going to come in and be definitely a number one receiver. So that's going to relieve a lot of pressure off of Darnell Mooney. Cole Kmet is a guy that Kevin also mentioned. We mentioned that, Justin Fields was a guy who was getting 100 yards pretty easily, 80 yards rushing the ball. Are we going to see him kind of stay a little bit more in the pocket now that he has more help, weapons in Chicago now? I know we mentioned in free agency earlier in the year. I remember Uncle Manny was saying guys don't want to go to Chicago. It's usually they get drafted there or something happens via trade. And now that Ryan Poles is able to get a DJ Moore, which was crazy, and end up getting all of those picks and still get the 9th pick and a first rounder next year, it's a haul that they absolutely got for the number one pick. So we kind of, the chit chat of should the Bears draft Bryce Young? Should they stay with Justin Fields? If we knew that they were able to get all of this stuff and DJ Moore, I probably.
Oh, it went out again.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you can catch exactly what he was trying to say in about 10 seconds as he was finishing his thought that he probably just reloaded. Hey, Jaevon, what were you probably doing?
Yeah. So basically, what I was saying is we would have known that the Bears would be able to get all of this stuff for the number one pick. I probably would have been like, yeah, might as well do that and figure out what to do with Justin Fields. I would love to have a solid offensive coordinator kind of beside him and kind of just being able to have an offensive mind for Justin Fields. Kind of going back to what Kevin said, not the Justin Fields, the Jalen Hurts like jump. Well, he had Frank Wright and he had Dougie P in the building. So he had a lot of guys that were able to, kind of help, build quarterback whisperers, some might say. I don't think he has that in Chicago. And that's kind of been the dark shadow over the Chicago Bears is when's the last time they really had a quarterback? So the time is now, and Chicago has been they'll be put in a very interesting place now as far as where will the Panthers be picking or who they will be drafting. I would love to say the Panthers probably are going to draft Anthony Richardson. Now that does not mean I think Anthony Richardson is the best quarterback coming out of this draft class. I'm just going off of they traded all the way up from 9. At number 9, they were kind of in no man's land. They didn't think that they would be able to get a quarterback, at least the guy that they want, at number 9. So they traded all the way up to 1. And I think kind of after the whole mega combine that Anthony Richardson had, I think they're going to fall in love with what he was able to do. He wasn't the best quarterback coming out of this year's draft class, but I think the potential and the ceiling for Anthony Richardson can be super high. And we've seen, Frank Reich kind of be able to be a quarterback whisperer, as I just mentioned before, and kind of be able to mold him into the player that he kind of wants him to be. And I think the potential for Anthony Richardson is limitless.
And, I'm glad that you mentioned Anthony Richardson, Jaevon, because when you were mentioning just quarterbacks and the fit of the situation that they end up getting drafted into, Anthony Richardson is this year's guy that I think about that needs to go to the best possible situation for himself. Doesn't mean that he's not insanely talented, but he needs to go to the right situation for them to truly maximize his potential. And we see Uncle Manny, he made a comment where he said Justin Fields was running for his life. It's true. He was running for his life. Jaevon, I didn't mean to talk down on your point about Justin Fields and how he was running everywhere. But in my point, it was just that also David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert were also helping him with it. But Justin Fields was running for his life out of necessity because the Bears, they just didn't have much of an offensive line.
O-line got better today, too.
It did get better today, and they went after our guy and Mike McGlinchey, but the Broncos ended up getting him. So I think it's unanimous that we all agree that the Bears absolutely fleeced the Panthers for the number 1 overall pick, and they have one guy to thank for it, and that man is Lovie Smith. Lovie Smith. I sent you guys that clip from CBS Sports where it's just like,
baby.
Lovie went for 2, and he changed the course of the NFL, and he changed the future of the NFL for like the next 2 decades.
Bro, they might make a 30 for 30 about this.
They should, because especially if a guy like Bryce Young or CJ Stroud or Anthony Richardson, if one of those 3 guys, I'm sorry, I'm not going to include Will Levis in this discussion, but if one of those 3 guys,
you heard me, Kevin. Garbage.
I'm just happy you didn't mention Hooker.
Oh.
No, he needs to stay healthy. But anyways, if one of those 3 guys that I did mention, if one of those 3 guys is a Hall of Famer, they have to make the 30 for 30 because it's a Hall of Famer could have gone to the Texans number 1 overall if not for Lovie Smith. Yeah. So that's where he really changed the NFL forever. All right, guys. Now we have plenty of other news and NFL free agency, so let's get to it in just a moment. But I just wanted to mention that you guys are all tuned into Stats Over Politics, episode number 19. Shaun Holko alongside Jaevon Toddy and Kevin Dent. If you aren't already, make sure to subscribe on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. We really appreciate it. If you want to follow us on social media, you can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Stats Over Politics, or on Twitter, where you may be watching this right now, at Stats or Politics, because it gave us a character limit. All right, guys, now let's get I know, right? We just needed 2 more letters. All right, so now let's get to all of the other news that has happened in the NFL and free agency. And just for the sake of time, I'm going to read off the list, and then you guys can pick and choose which ones you want to get into. Jaevon, it's just like our headline segment from Shaun and Vaughn. So here we go. Jalen Ramsey, who we mentioned earlier, he was traded to the Dolphins for tight end Hunter Long and a 2023 third-round pick. Austin... Yeah, I have no idea who Hunter Long is.
They know you're doing homie deals, bro. They came out publicly and said a first and a second, and then this happens.
Yep.
Hey, man. Over there cheating again.
And the Rams gave up 2 first-round picks to get Jalen Ramsey. But, hey, they won a Super Bowl. So, I mean, they mortgaged 10 years of the future to win 1 Super Bowl. I don't blame him. As a guy who hasn't seen one of his professional sports teams win a championship, all I got is the Ohio State football team winning in 2014 and the Stanford women's basketball team winning in 2021. That's all I got. So as someone who hasn't seen his professional sports team win a championship yet, Kevin, we're not as blessed as you are. I mean, well, Jaevon did see his Celtics win in 2008. But yeah, I would consider making that same deal that Schneed made for the Rams. Anyways, let's keep it moving. So Austin Eckler, as we mentioned earlier, he requested a trade from the Chargers because contract extension talks stalled. Yeah, so Eckler's, Kevin is excited as well for our audio.
Austin, number 30 in the midnight green.
You're gonna be
that'd be disgusting.
When he goes to the Rams.
You want to prove that you're I'll do it all back? Hey, man, Philly is the biggest stage in the world, man. Go do your audition.
He wants money. You guys don't have money.
We can. Hey,
that's a fact.
Hold on. I got it right here. So look,
yeah, please tell us.
Come to Philly. Give me 1,300. 10 tugs, all pro year.
We'll get you next year. That's him. That's Kevin, bro. He thinks that he's going to be.
We'll get you next year, dog.
Now he is not.
No, that's not what he said. He said he wanted to do talks. They weren't even talking to him. We'll talk to him for 17 games. We'll talk. I gotta see it, man. I need my return on investment.
What have you not seen already? You just want to see it in a green uniform.
Hey, that's what I'm saying, bro. You want me to pay? I need to see it. In a green jersey with Jalen Hurts. I need to make sure you're strong enough to push him over the huddle.
Said that you don't I need to see back. You're a running back by committee.
Exactly. We don't. We don't. But hey, we add him to the mix.
$17 million. You got it for him?
Hey, next season. Like I'm saying, man.
Shaun, can you pull up the top running backs there?
Yeah, I got
pull that up. But Kevin, I'm trying to figure this out, man. Austin Eckler, you said that we don't need Booby Miles, a guy who's Pro Bowl year, a Pro Bowl running back that you guys just had. See ya. We don't need you. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. That was
Okay, I never said all that. Don't say I was disrespectful with it. Now I didn't say don't let the door hit you on the way out.
You might as well pay Booby. You might as well pay.
I got a Booby jersey in my closet. We would have Eckler for 2 more seasons at 27. Hey man, Eckler want to win. He might want to come in here and do his thing, man. I think he's gone again with a perfect smile.
Yeah, he froze with the most beautiful smile. I gotta take a screenshot of that one. Oh no, I was too late. Jaevon,
so let me hear those running back numbers.
Yeah, I got you real quick. And I'm gonna probably have to repeat it for when he comes back in for 10 seconds. So let me just delay real quickly for like another 5 to 10 seconds. Well, Kevin, real quickly, this isn't Shaun's pop quiz, but if you had to guess, who do you think is the highest paid running back in the NFL?
Derrick Henry.
Nope, it's not. All right, Jaevon. So as we add you back in here to the stream, I just asked Kevin real quickly as I was stalling because we knew you'd be back in 10 to 15 seconds. But I was just stalling real quickly, and I asked him who he thinks the highest paid running back in the NFL is. He said Derrick Henry. That's incorrect. You think it's Zeke?
Yeah.
That is also incorrect.
Ooh.
Is it Joe Mixon?
AK?
No.
Oh, it's Chris McCaffrey.
Guys. Thank you, Kevin. Christian McCaffrey.
Hey.
All right, so Jaevon, here's your list.
Bowler? Damn, best running back in the league.
All right, Jaevon, I'm just gonna ignore that comment. So Jaevon, are you ready to hear the list?
Yeah, go ahead.
So here is our top 10, and we got 3 guys tied for 9. So this is actually the top 11. But here we go. So we got Christian McCaffrey making just over $16 million a year. Alvin Kamara and Ezekiel Elliott making $15 million a year.
Yeah, I was like,
Dalvin Cook. Yeah, Alvin Kamara and Zeke are tied for 2 at 15. Dalvin Cook, 12.6. Derrick Henry, 12.5. Nick Chubb, 12.2. Joe Mixon and Aaron Jones. This isn't baseball. Aaron Jones, $12 million for Joe Mixon and Aaron Jones. And then tied for 9th, we got Saquon, Tony Pollard, and Josh Jacobs, just over $10 million. So where does Austin Eckler fit in? Because the thing about Austin Eckler is right now he's at number 15 on the list, making $6.125 million. And the thing about Eckler is he was like a 6th-round pick, and that's why he's trying to get that money because he's missed out on it on the front end of his career.
We can double that.
I was gonna say, yeah, like 13. 13 is kind of where he's gonna be at. That would put him like what top? He's better than Zeke. Well, just Zeke got the money early. That's what it was.
Yeah, he sure did.
So that's kind of why Zeke is up there in as far as top running backs go, money wise.
Yeah, so let me just get to the rest of this. Let me just get to the rest of this NFL news real quickly. So because we got a lot. So the Ravens, they officially tagged Lamar Jackson with a non-exclusive tag. They can start negotiating on Thursday. The Giants, they signed Daniel Jones to a 4-year deal worth $160 million. The Giants, they tagged Saquon Barkley. The Vikings released Adam Thielen. The Bears agreed to a 4-year deal worth $72 million with former Bills linebacker Tremaine Edmonds. Devin McCourty of the Patriots, he retired. The Commanders, they paid Durant Payne 4 years, $90 million. He had been franchised. He is now the 2nd highest paid defensive tackle in the NFL, right behind Aaron Donald, as we mentioned earlier. Jonnu Smith. Yeah, that D-line in Washington is pretty good. Right there next to Chase Young from The Ohio State University, as Kevin yawns.
Hey, don't disrespect that, man.
Hey, man.
So, Jonnu Smith, he was traded to the Falcons for a 7th-round pick, as we mentioned earlier. Shout out to Garry. The Steelers signed Patrick Peterson. I'm afraid he might be washed. And this last piece of news isn't official, but if you read into if you read into things, then you will agree with me that the Jets seem to be nearing a deal for Aaron Rodgers, indicated by tweets from the Jets star trio of Sauce Gardner, Breece Hall, and Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
Exactly. The 3 of them, they did the whole seance for the cheesehead. They burned it, and now they're tweeting, super excited. Aaron Rodgers told Brandon Marshall and I Am Athlete that we should expect the news soon. So who knows? By the time we talk on Thursday, we may be talking about Aaron Rodgers officially being a Jet, but that's just speculation, guys. Let's dive into the topics that have actually happened. So, Jaevon, I'm going to start things off with you. Which piece of NFL news do you want to talk about? Like we said, we got Jalen Ramsey, Austin Eckler, Lamar Jackson, Saquon Barkley. There's a lot to talk about.
Obviously, Jalen Ramsey's a guy who I think is a top corner in this league. Kevin doesn't think that for some odd
Whoa,
reason.
that's not what Kevin said at all. Don't be putting words in my mouth. I'm just saying, last season, this is a what have you done for me lately kind of league, man. And if I need a
That's over
corner,
politics.
I might have to go get me Aiden Hutchinson, man. I'm just saying.
Okay, but he ends up going to the Dolphins, who probably have the best secondary in the league. Xavier Howard, Javon Holland, Jalen Ramsey. They're pretty much going all in, with Tua on his 5th-year option, kind of just going to see what happens. They did
Is Tua going to be the starting quarterback though? Because they signed Mike White. I just took the words out of your mouth.
I was like, they signed Mike White. We see what he was able to do. So I don't know. He goes to the other side of the division. Who knows if that's the dark side or not? But Tua's injury concerns are a concern, obviously. With all of the concussions that he's kind of had throughout the year. And Mike White can kind of be a guy that can maybe come in, and who knows? If Mike White was on the team when they played the Bills, do they win that game? I don't know. Skylar Thompson almost won that game, 4 of them last year in the playoffs. So we'll kind of see how that goes. But another guy, a lot of people really aren't talking about this. Adam Thielen getting released by the Vikings is crazy.
What's up, Wes? Let us know what you think.
So we don't talk about Vikings on this podcast.
He's a guy that can be a great slot receiver. I don't see why.
At 33.
Come on, man. Do we know the numbers that Adam Thielen's numbers are insane. Especially him being beside a Justin Jefferson, the number that he's put up being the number 2 behind Stephon Diggs when he was in Minnesota. He's a guy that can be a great number 2, number 3 receiver on your team. Why not? Somebody needs to pick up somebody. They're sleeping on Adam Thielen right now. I think he's a guy that can for sure definitely play in this league. He's not a guy. He hasn't fallen off a cliff.
Insane. Last 4 seasons, 716 yards, 6 touchdowns, 726, 10 touchdowns. He had 925 3 years ago.
Come on.
And then he had 418. And then the birth of Justin Jefferson came.
Yeah. He's not going to get you. I'm not saying he's going to get you 1,000 yards, but he's a touchdown machine in the red zone.
He's not even where would you rank him as a number 2 receiver?
I mean, there's a bunch of guys out there. He's better
Top
than
10.
Schmitty.
Oh my God. So off the point, Shaun. You're a realist. I had to bring this up to you.
No,
tell this man Schmitty's better than Ayuk.
Oh, here we go.
Give me a second to think about that.
I said he's coming in and be the number 2 because Kevin was like, "We'll give you a 2nd-round pick for Brandon Ayuk."
Kevin, I'm not telling you you're wrong. I just need to think about it. Go ahead, Jaevon.
He said that we'll give you a 2 for Ayuk, and I was like, he'll come in and be the number 2 on your team, and he was like, nah, he was like, Devonta Smith is the number 2, and I was like, and then he was like, oh, he's Brandon Ayuk. He only had 1,000-yard receiver only once. I was like, yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo is your quarterback. I mean, then why not? If he had Jalen Hurts, he's 1,500-yard receiver. What are we talking about? He's a very crisp route runner. He gets open. He gets open. So I wouldn't say Devonta Smith is I think Brandon Ayuk is a better route runner than him, but I think that Devonta Smith has all the tools to be probably a better, more complete receiver than Ayuk. But I think Ayuk is the guy he's going to be open, wide open. That is.
So let's put it on the podcast, Toddy. Let me know. Ayuk's better than Smitty. Oh gosh. All right, Shaun, come on.
Right now, he's better.
Okay, hold on. Yep, I got you. I'll write that one down. So there we go. Let me just grab my pen real quick. Okay, I got it. All right. So anyways, so then there's no lag on the audio and they're not just hearing no noise. I will say, Kevin, that I do think that I would take Devonta Smith over Brandon Ayuk.
Everyone would.
But there is a but. The caveat is I don't think the separation is as big as you think
it's
not.
Kevin.
It's not as okay. So Kevin, before you look up all your numbers and you start
right here, I don't gotta look it up.
Okay. So before you give, I saw you working on that. Before you give us the stats over politics, just explain to me without numbers. Explain to me why Devonta Smith is significantly better than Brandon Ayuk, because that's what I'm hearing from you.
It ain't route running.
It's everything. It's playmaking. It's route running. I would take Brandon Ayuk. I would take Devonta Smith in every category there is against Brandon Ayuk. He's taller than him. He's a bigger wide receiver, and Schmitty's small, so that says a lot for him to be bigger than somebody. So I know you can say the Jimmy Garoppolo thing, man.
He won the Heisman.
He's not even getting the target shares, man. But before this year, without Debo, he probably not cracking 60 receptions in 2 seasons. So I mean, it's easy to be over there and be number 3 and 4, but Schmitty had to come and be number 2, and the numbers don't lie. So we don't have to get into the numbers. I know it's just gonna hurt you guys. And Shaun's a realist, so I respect it, but Schmitty's clear as Ayuk. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay, so but the follow-up question that I have to that, though, because as you just mentioned, I'm a realist, so I'm just going to try to ask just the I mean, I am a homer. It is what it is, but I try to ride the fence a little bit and just play the devil's advocate, at least when Gary's not here. And so the genuine question that I have for that is you say that Ayuk is a 3 or 4, but Smith is a bona fide 2 on the Eagles. But the Eagles, they have a guy in Dallas Goedert who you were very high on, and he potentially could be a number 2. And then you also have all of those guys coming out of the backfield that Jalen Hurts was dumping the ball off to, because that's kind of the same situation as we see in San Francisco, where it's like, okay, Debo is your number 1 wide receiver.
We got guys.
George Kittle is most of the time your number 2 target. And so, yeah, Ayuk probably is more so of a 3, maybe a 4 when Christian McCaffrey came around. And so I'm just wondering the difference, because to me, and Kevin, you can clear it up for me because I don't watch as much Eagles football as you, but to me, Smith and Ayuk are in the same exact scenarios where it's like both teams have a number 1 wide receiver straight up who you were behind. Then they also have really good tight ends. I'm not going to say elite, but they have really good tight ends. And then even with the 3-headed monster that is the Eagles backfield, that equals 1 Christian McCaffrey. So then, hey, you got a good backfield as well. And so to me, they seem like they're in the exact same situation. Please tell me the difference.
I would just say an opportunity. We saw when Debo went down, and Brandon Ayuk had to be the number 1 guy. Yeah, he had a lot of production, but he wasn't what we thought he was going to be. And when Smitty wasn't with AJ, and he had to be the number 1 dog, we saw it week in and week out. So just the opportunity as the number 1 dog, you have to give it to Smitty.
All right, there you go. And Jaevon, just for the record, I have it down. Jaevon said on March 13th, 2023, episode number 19, I'm taking Brandon Ayuk over Devontae Smith. But everyone, let's not forget that Kevin said I'm taking Jalen Hurts over Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow.
I just want y'all to know we were 3 points from that shit being crazy. We were 3 points from that quote going fucking nuts.
3.
I would have came in here on Monday. Oh my God. I'm telling
so
you, at halftime, I had it all planned out.
Oh boy. He said halftime.
Hey, Kevin, we had a 10-point lead in the Super Bowl too. I know how it feels. All right, so guys, before we move on to the NCAA and March Madness to close things out, did you have any other thoughts on any of the stuff that's happened in NFL free agency? I read a lot there. I mean, I know you guys really talked about Jalen Ramsey and Austin Eckler a lot. Lamar Jackson getting signed to the non-exclusive tag, not the exclusive tag, the non-exclusive tag. Saquon getting tagged. I mean, there's plenty of other news that has happened in the last week in NFL free agency. If you guys want to. Jaevon, do you want to touch on any of those topics before we move on?
It's disrespectful. A lot of teams, people are saying that, teams aren't going to give Lamar what he wants because, he wants the guaranteed contract, yada, yada, yada. But I think a lot goes into it because they don't want to give up 2 first-round picks, kind of trying to match the offer. That goes into it a lot as well. But I think Lamar is worth $200 million guaranteed. I don't see why that should be so far-fetched. I mean, he has all the accolades. He has the MVP, for Christ's sake. He's won playoff games. Why isn't Lamar being looked at? Doesn't really make sense. Me and Kevin kind of went into it a lot last week on, the whole Lamar Jackson fiasco. But, it's kind of just starting to figure out. I think right now it's kind of looking like he's probably going to end up staying as a Raven. But at the same time, we could get a Shefty bomb. Hey, he just went to the Jets. So, because right now we're not hearing anything that Lamar or we're talking to this team is kind of interested. We haven't heard anything. We just, as soon as this news came out, everybody was saying, all right, we're out. We don't want Lamar. Like, instantly. Like, it was kind of weird that happened. Like, they were just like, you know what, that's it. Like, we're cool, Lamar. We're not really gonna. And all the teams that are kind of quarterback hungry right now are kind of like in the draft right now. So, there are other teams that we already said, hey, what if the Lions look at them? What if the Tampa Bay doesn't have a quarterback? Tampa Bay's trying to tank. They're trying to get Caleb Williams. So they're not really in the business of paying the quarterback. So Lamar has to go to a team that's ready to win now. And I think those win now teams that are just, a quarterback away kind of already said that they're out already.
Kevin, what about you? Do you have any other NFL free agency news you want to touch on?
Yeah, man. Daniel Jones for the next 4 seasons.
Oh, my God.
Oh, music to my
ears. Daniel Jones signing to the Giants is the same thing as Geno Smith signing to the Seahawks.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
it's worse. No, it's worse. It is worse.
It's worse.
I'm talking.
It's worse.
I'm talking about as far as, all right, these are easy 2 wins for us. That's what Kevin's viewing it as. He views it like,
okay, I get it. Yeah.
This is an easy 2 wins for us. The Niners went 3-0 against Seattle. The Eagles went 3-0 against the Giants last year. So that's why we're both happy.
All right, Kevin. So let us hear your thoughts on the amazing signing of Daniel Jones for 4 more years in New York.
Hey, man, I was scared they were going to try to trade into the draft and get one of these young guys, man. But to say that I get to see Daniel Jones twice a year, hey, man, I have to show love to my Dookie brother. Congratulations. You signed up to be the punching bag of the NFC East, man. Congratulations. I was surprised for them to see that they're not going to pay Saquon. But, it's a quarterback-driven league, and he came in and won a playoff game against the fraud Vikings. You can take that as you like. Sorry, Wesley. But I'm happy to see Daniel Jones, man, come in and continue to get sacked and throw picks. And I'm looking forward to it, man. Like Uncle Manny just said, easy wins. Just easy wins. And last thing on free agency, man, Jaevon Hargrave, when you come to the link, it's going to be a long one for you, brother. I know you got so good going against the number 1 offensive line in football, but now we ain't holding it back. We ain't just touching you now. It's going to be hard, man. Joey Bosa played, and he cut his leg up, and that was the only time he was on the big screen.
It was Nick. It was actually Nick, though.
Couldn't tell you. Neither of them showed up. So
one of them is a defensive player of the year. The other one isn't. But okay.
So when Jaevon Hargrave has 2 sacks against the Eagles, then I don't want to hear anything.
Bro, like I said, number 1 offensive line in football. I didn't want to go this far, man. But you said it with the Dolphins. Building the secondary. You got the Niners building the D line, man. If you want the blueprint, just say so. I'll bring it next Monday. You want to know how to win? You want to know how to get it done? I got you on Monday, man. I'll bring it to you on Monday. I see everyone's trying to fall in pace. Like, oh, the Eagles did it. Maybe, he did it for the Eagles. He did it for the Eagles. He'll come here and do it. It got to work. Hey, man, everyone can't be the Eagles, man.
Hey, Jaevon, do you remember a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about all the different guys that the Eagles have as free agents and then all the guys that the Eagles didn't have that were going to be free agents? And Kevin was like, oh, yeah, I'm about to get him, keeping him. He's coming back. We're going to get him. He's coming back. 2 guys coming back. Y'all keep putting words in my mouth. I will. Bradbury and Chauncey. Everybody else, man. I'm going to have to. Yeah, you know what? I apologize. I did not come prepared. I should have come with the receipts ready to go. I don't mean to be reading our private group chat, but if something is a sports discussion and it needs to be brought up on the podcast, I'll bring that receipt.
It needs to come to light.
I didn't come prepared, and for that I apologize as the host. But I got to do better. But hey. Let's keep things moving, gentlemen, as we get to our last topic. But before we get to March Madness, I just want to get to some NCAA basketball topics. And the first one is Jim Boeheim retired from Syracuse men's basketball after 47 seasons. As we know, they won the national championship back in 2003, Jaevon, led by Carmelo Anthony. Yes, sir, led by Melo. And so what are your thoughts on them doing this?
It was kind of weird.
On Jim Boeheim, excuse me.
Yeah, it was kind of weird seeing that, Coach Boeheim, he's been the coach since forever, man. He's been the coach since I can remember. When you think Syracuse, you think Jim Boeheim, the 2-3 zone. People hated playing against Syracuse because, you couldn't really get past that 2-3 zone. Were they in that game, the 6 overtime game with Kemba Walker?
Yes.
Was that
Yep.
yeah, that's a crazy, crazy step back, by the way, with Kemba. Cardiac Kemba. That's kind of how he got his nickname. But those are just little memories that you kind of remember with Syracuse basketball. It's really crazy to think that Coach Boeheim only has one national championship, but he's been to several, NCAA tournaments, Final Fours, Sweet 16s, Elite Eights, the whole shebang. So he's going to go down as one of the greatest college coaches ever. I think he's a legendary coach, and it's kind of sad to see him go. There's like a lot of coaches that we're kind of just seeing that we watched just growing up, like Jay Wright left. Obviously, Roy Williams is probably the greatest coach of all time. I know Kevin's gonna have something to say that Coach K is
that was a hard eye roll for the audio only audience.
Coach K is obviously one of the greatest coaches of all time. Legendary coach, is a guy that we've seen, leave the sport of college basketball. So you're kind of just starting to see like these coaches that we've grown up and just be like, yeah, that's Coach K, that's Duke. Roy Williams, that's North Carolina. Coach K is Duke, and then Jay Wright's Villanova. So we're just seeing a whole bunch of guys that we just know those were their programs just stepping away, and just getting up there in age and just saying, hey, I'm gonna retire. So sad to see Coach Boeheim retire.
So, Kevin, for our audio-only listeners, they didn't get to see the beautiful jersey that you just displayed. So can you describe it for our audience?
We got the gray throwback Mellow Syracuse jersey, man. National champion Carmelo Anthony. Like Toddy mentioned, the only one that Jim was able to win, man. And as a Duke fan, I'm sad to see him leave. But I'm hoping the 2-3 zone leaves with him. I'm not gonna lie to you. They hired the assistant, so he's seen the success with it. But it's modern basketball, man. People don't practice 2-3 zones every day. So yeah. I hope that leaves with him. But I'm happy I don't got to worry about him terrorizing us anymore.
And just a quick update, even though everyone, if you're watching on YouTube, you probably got the Kings game in front of you as well. Kings are up 3 right now, and Giannis had 40 points after 3 quarters.
Jesus Christ.
And yeah, Giannis had 40 after 3 quarters, and Sabonis was 1 assist shy of another triple-double through 3 quarters.
Answer.
So hopefully the Kings pull this out against probably the best team in the NBA, and that is the Milwaukee Bucks. We shall see. So, guys, now let's get to some March Madness, as March Madness has officially begun. Everyone loves filling out their brackets every year.
He's got triple-double, by the way.
There it is. He officially got the triple-double through a minute in the fourth quarter. Nice job by Sabonis. And I always forget to mention, I always tell Jaevon, like, I can't watch a Kings game with Jaevon if we're not in the same place, because I'm watching on a stream that's like a full minute behind him, and he's just going to tell me everything that happens before I even see it. Oh, yep, there it is right there. So anyways, every year people fill out their brackets, the men's and women's brackets. And
Kev, did you fill your bracket out?
Of course.
I didn't see it.
Well, we're going to talk about our brackets.
It doesn't let you see till the 16th.
Yeah, it lets you know that someone has entered a bracket, but it doesn't tell you who they picked until it locks in on the day that it starts on Thursday. And so anyways, what we're alluding to is we have a stats over politics bracket challenge. You can check it out on the ESPN Tournament Challenge. You can access it on a computer, on your smartphone. If you're on a smartphone, you can download the ESPN Tournament Challenge app. Super user-friendly, super easy. And to join our group, you just make a bracket, and then you just look up Stats Over Politics. We're the only one. You find us, join us, and we can see who is the cream of the crop when it comes to the Stats Over Politics audience, competing with us, not only, gentlemen, but also with everyone else who decides to join. And real quickly, Jaevon, I know that we had, for our Shaun and Vaughn audience, we had Sav Nation. Kevin, do you have any early ideas of what we should call our Stats Over Politics audience and our fans and listeners?
It can't be politicers. I'm sorry, Kevin.
No, it definitely can't be.
It definitely can't be.
Yo, that's crazy. Ask me next week. I'll have a list for us. All
right. We'll follow back up. Kevin's going to give us a list, and then everyone can vote on it, and then we'll go from there. Because I saw on your Centers podcast, Kevin, I saw that him and Travis, they had a vote to name their audience for their podcast. They didn't go with jabronis. They went with the 92 percenters because you got to give. I think it was like give 92% on everything. There was a meaning behind it, but I'm gonna butcher it, so I'm just gonna move on. Anyways, everyone, make sure if you're filling out a bracket, you're doing it on ESPN. Join our group. You can join multiple groups. You can be with your family. You can be with your office, and you can be with Stats Over Politics. Just look up Stats Over Politics on the ESPN Tournament Challenge and join our group. Let's see who gets to the top. Are we going to put any money on it between us? We got to talk about that in our group chat. We'll see. Kevin doesn't look confident, but I mean, Sophia, Jaevon's girlfriend, is going to probably just smash us all. So we probably should hold off on that. Anyways, guys, we're running out of time. So now let's get to March Madness. So real quickly, before we get to March Madness and we give our boldest predictions for what's going to come up with March Madness on the men's and women's side, I just wanted to talk about the men's tournament versus the women's tournament. And I'll make this quick because I'm not excited for the men's tournament at all, personally.
That's fine.
I have been a casual when it comes to watching men's college basketball, but it's also because the big names are gone after 1 year, and I don't really have as much interest. And I typically don't pay attention to men's college basketball until March and this week, basically. This is the first time I'm really locking in because just off of the top of my head, the guys that I think about in men's college basketball is a guy like Brandon Miller, who we know the situation going on at Alabama. Don't have to get into that. Got Grady Dick at Kansas. I only remember his name, Jaevon, because I'm immature and I thought his name was funny. And then I also think of a guy like Drew Timme, who's at Gonzaga. Those are the only three guys. Yeah, exactly. And those are the only three guys that I can think of off the top of my head in men's college basketball. Now let me tell you about all the names in women's college basketball, because there's a rule in the WNBA as Kevin puts his stinger up, because the Sac State women's basketball team made the first ever NCAA tournament by winning the Big Sky tournament this past week. As a guy who covered that team for 2 seasons when they were absolutely dog trash under head coach Bunky Harkleroad, I am so proud and so happy as an alum to see them make history. Shout out to Mark Campbell and his entire staff. I couldn't be happier. I'll get to them later. When it comes
what seed do they get?
13. They're 13, going up against number 4 UCLA in LA on Saturday night.
Shit.
So the thing about the difference between men's college basketball and women's college basketball is I just mentioned those 3 guys that I can think of with men's college basketball. You got Brandon Miller, Grady Dick, Drew Timme. Those are the guys I can think of off the top of my head. When it comes to women's college basketball, because of the WNBA rule where you're not eligible to play in the WNBA, if you're born in the States, you're not eligible to play in the WNBA until you're 22. And because of that, we have star names in women's college basketball that we've gotten to see for years and that we know. You look at South Carolina, Aaliyah Boston, Zaya Cook, led by Dawn Staley. Stanford, you got Haley Jones, Cameron Brink, Jazania Harrell from Antelope High School, led by Tara Vanderveer. Iowa, you got the star that is Caitlin Clark, along with Monica Zazano.
Didn't she just have 40?
Of course she did, because she's Caitlin fucking Clark. And UConn, AZ Fudd, Aaliyah Edwards, back next year. They'll have Paige Beckers, led by the legend that is Gino Auriemma. LSU, led by Angel Reese. Flau'jae Johnson, led by Kim Mulkey. Louisville got Haley Van Lift. Even the Ohio State Buckeyes got JC Sheldon, who has been around for years. So my point is that because of the NBA rule when it comes to eligibility and age, that has made women's college basketball that much more interesting. I'm not arguing that the NBA needs to bump up their age and that they need to have it take even longer for guys to get to the league. I think 19 is fine. But what I am telling you is why I'm going to be watching the women's college basketball tournament a lot more and why you all should be watching the college basketball tournament. And I'm not just talking to Kevin and Jaevon. I'm talking to everyone who is listening to this, because these women are talented. And you need to tune in, because not only are they talented, but you got the big names with big rivalries. That's what we love so much about college basketball, the Duke and UNC rivalry between you guys. When there were those guys staying around for multiple years, and you could have those battles, you could have those rivalries, and guys going against each other's, not just the name on their chest. And for that, I'm going to be locked into the women's tournament, and I'm going to be enjoying it. And also, you can see the WNBA stars of tomorrow, because there's a lot of them in this tournament, and I'm really looking forward to it. So unless you guys had any thoughts on that, the follow-up about my little rant, I just had to get that off my chest because the women's game gets so disrespected.
Preach.
And it just bothers me so much. I appreciate it. So now, guys, let's get to the actual tournaments. Let's get to the men's side first. We'll get to the women to close things out. So I will say real quickly before I give my bold prediction for March Madness on the men's side, Kevin, I think it should be noted that North Carolina, who were playing in the national championship game last year, they didn't even make it back to the tournament. And then they were too good. They said, fuck the NIT. I don't even want to go play there. Jaevon, what do you have to say about your Tar Heels fall from grace?
Oh my God, it was a terrible year all around. We were ranked number 1, I think, going into
preseason.
The year.
Hell yeah!
Going into the year, we were ranked number 1 and kind of just fell. Yeah, we tumbled. It was just an all bad year. I told Kevin I was never really confident just in the year period, just from when we were just losing regularly, to start the season. And then I remember when we were number 1, and then we had a game, I think it was against Alabama, we played in one of those holiday tournaments, went to like triple
PK80.
Yeah, we went to triple overtime, and then we lost. That was like the 3rd loss we had in a row. I was like, yep, this is the season. We're not, I don't know if we're good enough. And then, us kind of going, but me and Kev usually have our yearly Duke UNC going back and forth. The first game I was like, yeah, we have no chance. The second game I was a little bit more confident going into it, just because it was at Carolina. It was like, I think it was the last home game of the year or something like that. And, Coach Roy was there. He had me fired up. So I was like, anything is fine. Vince Carter.
The broom's out.
Vince Carter was there. And I was like, hey, we might be able to win this one. And we definitely shit the bed in that game. So it was never really we never really had a chance. I knew, I was like, Kevin, they're going to offer us the NIT. I was like, bro, we ain't going. we ain't going. We're going to focus on next year, where there's no way we're going into that. No way we're going from national championship to NIT in a 2-year span. So Caleb Love should have came out last year. Armando Baycott's stock was probably, all those guys' stocks was probably way higher last year. So for them to come back for another year, and he's probably going to go second round, or maybe not even get drafted. So we're not really known, besides like Michael Jordan, for really producing guards in the
Vince Carter.
Yeah, I was thinking Vince Carter, but I guess he could be considered a 3.
It's more of a 3 to me. But I'm saying, as far as guards go, we're not producing guards into the league. So
Cole Anthony online too. I'm just kidding. I'm not actually being serious. You cannot mention him in the same sentence as Michael Jordan. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And Cole was a guy that I love. Just coming out of high school, being the number 1 player out of high school, but then he ends up messing his knee up in it was like mid-season. So I feel like the injury had a little bit to do with that. But yeah, UNC sucks, and I'm just looking forward to next year. Hopefully we should make the tournament next year. I think we got a pretty good draft class coming in, but our team was not good this year.
Well, hey, I got what I wanted, and it was hearing you say UNC sucks. So, Kevin, I want to hear your bold predictions for March Madness. We're starting here on the men's side. What is your bold prediction, Kevin, for the men's side? So we're gonna all go around.
That would be a bold take, though.
What for the Tar Heels to make the tournament next year?
Nah, Duke to win it.
Nah, he's talking about Duke. But before we get into this, man, I gotta continue shitting on the Tar Heels, man. First preseason number 1 team to miss the NCAA tournament since it started in 1985.
Sheesh.
Armando Baycott came back to get a little scene play in Outer Banks 3, season 3. Go check that out. He knows what he came back for. He didn't come back to poop.
Is he on the?
Yeah, man, got him a little scene in there. You feel me?
That's fine. I didn't know that.
Hey, man, that's what he came back to school for.
That's crazy.
But some March Madness sleepers, man. I definitely think Kentucky's gonna be out early. I just think they try to turn it on real late. I'm really big on Brandon Miller in Alabama. Without Victor and the G League Ignite guys in overtime, you would say he's the best prospect in this draft. He's definitely the best college draft prospect. Brandon Miller. They brought Javon Quiverly back there. They won the SEC 2 years in a row. So Alabama's been slowly building a program. And then Houston, another team that I think is going to come in and make a lot of noise, man. Houston's been doing it for a while, man. And then another sleeper that a lot of people aren't thinking, UCLA. I think UCLA has a chance to get into the dance and make some shit shake, man. They after the run they had last year, and then I think even 2 years ago, they lost Gonzaga on the Jalen Suggs half-court shot. UCLA's been cooking, man. UCLA's been cooking, and then I couldn't talk about national championship March Madness without bringing Duke, man. We've been playing our best basketball as of late, so don't be surprised if Duke is able to make another Final Four run.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is the official bold prediction there? Is that Duke making a Final Four run?
Yeah, that's my bold prediction. I wouldn't say them win it all, but they're making a Final Four run because they're gonna. If they were to make it to the Natty, they'd have to go through Bama.
All right, so Jaevon, what's your bold prediction on the men's side?
I'd say probably what's bold. I got TCU getting to the Sweet 16. They would have to go against a Gonzaga in the second round. I don't think Gonzaga's that good this year. Just based off, I'm just going off of how they've looked just throughout the year. The end of the year strong, but kind of them in the conference that they usually play against the most when they play good teams they usually lose. Didn't they play Duke this year, Kevin? They lost, or was that a couple years?
A couple years ago.
Yeah, okay. Oh, that was when Paulo was playing. Yeah, man. I got the bracket that I filled out. I got Bama winning it. I think they're the best complete team. I got Duke getting to the Sweet 16. I think they're just so hot right now. They've just been on fire. Duke would have to get to the Final Four. They would have to beat a Purdue, and I think Purdue is one of those. I think Purdue is one of the best teams.
Have that motherfucker circled, bro. They embarrassed us by 35. Have that motherfucker circled. We're coming for all that.
I think Purdue's better than you guys this year. I just think right now what you guys are riding off of is just how great you guys played at the end of the year. ACC tournament, winning the ACC, and only in the 5th seed. Paulo, I think I said that in the group chat that Paulo was like, we're only a 5th seed, blah, blah, blah. But me and Kevin were talking about it, and I was like, they only gave you – I was like, what kind of seed do you think? He was like, at best we'll get a 5th. Or I was like, at best we'll get a 5th. Worst we'll get a 7th because the beginning of the year they didn't start off well. That's going to kind of come back to bite them in the ass a little bit as far as seeding goes on Selection Sunday. But I think a lot of teams – UConn is another team that I'm pretty high on getting into the Sweet 16. But I'd say my craziest prediction or thing is TCU gets to the Sweet 16 as a 6th seed.
All
so
right.
I know you guys are listening and thinking if you should take our advice. Toddy asked me months ago if I thought Duke would win the ACC tournament. And when we were losing, I stood tall. So Kevin know what he's talking about.
Maybe.
All right, there you go. Let the record show Kevin stuck with this squad.
Kev, you got any first round upsets or kind of?
Oh yeah. I got Kentucky going down
in the first round.
Oh yeah. Do you know the story behind Providence?
They got really good guards.
Bro, they had a dude who played for Kentucky, and then they told him he couldn't come back. Yeah. And now he went to Providence, and he's killing. He's
gonna cook them.
I got Kentucky winning that game, though. The game that I had as kind of like the upset is Charleston over San Diego State. They're a 12 seed.
That's nuts.
They won their division. They only lost 3 games this year.
They're about to lose 4.
San Diego State they did win their division. They did win their conference. I think Charleston also won their conference as well. But you could argue the competition level isn't as good as what San Diego State usually used to playing. But I think that's probably like my biggest upset of the tournament that I have in my bracket.
So, Kevin, I think it's great that your team made it to the tournament because Jaevon's team didn't make it. Both of my teams being Ohio State and Stanford, neither of my schools made it.
They tried.
They did try. They did try, but unfortunately, they didn't get the job done. And so, congratulations, Kevin. You're the only one whose team actually made it to the tournament, but they're not going to be there for very long because my bold prediction is that Duke gets upset in the first round. Ooh, Kevin, I'm just glad that I saw that reaction from you. That instant reaction, the smack of the lips. There's just the idea on your face of how could he?
This ain't 2 years ago, Oral Roberts.
Ooh.
Okay, well, let me tell you a little bit why it is going to be like that, because you referenced 2 years ago, and for those of you who aren't well versed on what happened 2 years ago, Oral Roberts came into the tournament as the number 15 seed, and they knocked off the number 2, the Ohio State Buckeyes. They knocked them off the year that I thought the Buckeyes were going to win the whole thing. You remember that, Jaevon? Yeah, I do too.
Picked them to win it, and they lose in the first round.
That was disgusting. Anyways. So, yeah, Oral Roberts, they broke my heart. And, Kevin, you are a noted Ohio State fan, so they broke your heart, too. Well, yeah. Kevin, you're about to despise Oral Roberts the most out of any school in this tournament because, okay, you referenced back to 2 years ago. The one constant, as they have from 2 years ago, is that guy, Max A. Smith, who absolutely cooked the Buckeyes 2 years ago.
Oh, he's there.
He's back. He's back. He's still there, and he is leading the charge for Oral Roberts. And Oral Roberts has won 17 games in a row, which is currently the longest winning streak in NCAA. And Kevin, I get it. Kevin, I know what you're thinking. You're saying, all right, they've won 17 games in a row. Congratulations. The streak has to come to an end at some point. It's not going to happen against Duke because I have Oral Roberts not only beating Duke, but I have them making another Sweet 16 run because I said bold predictions. I feel like I'm the only one who gave a real bold prediction here, but that's my bold prediction. I got Oral Roberts beating Duke in the first round and then even advancing to the Sweet 16. Kevin, you can rebut that thought right now.
Hey, man, like I said, this ain't 2 years ago. We don't got Granny at Chicago Loyola. The Cinderella story is going to have to come to an end sometimes, and, congratulations. Playing who knows who they played against for those 17 games, but they got it done as Division I basketball. You have to give them their credit, but Duke's playing too great right now. During the whole
by 6 points, by the way.
During the whole ACC tournament, we only let the largest deficit was 2 points. We spent 4 minutes and 32 seconds trailing in 3 games. Mm-hmm. We're playing the way we're doing. Kyle Filipowski, supposed to be taking the SAT right now.
They're hot.
Came in here and said, you know what? Fuck a senior year. I got it now. So Duke's playing well right now, and we're doing our thing. So I'm interested to hear that, man. I can't wait to. Hopefully they play on Thursday by the time our show comes on.
Oh, another episode I got is VCU over St. Mary's too. I think that's another 5-12 matchup.
Why are you picking against all the California teams? You got San Diego State getting upset. You got St. Mary's. I know he was sending his ass to Massachusetts. All right, so. Guys, real quickly, because we're about at our time limit here, but we got to get these last couple things in. Real quickly, I'm just going to give my final 4. I don't know if you guys got yours ready to go, but I'll let everyone know just so it's on the record. I think it's crazy that Jaevon has Gonzaga on upset watch because call me crazy, and maybe this is just the casual in me that hasn't watched men's college basketball all year. But I got Gonzaga. I got Gonzaga winning it all. I think they finally get the job done. They're going to be led by Drew Timme, but my final 4 is Alabama, Memphis, Texas A&M, and Gonzaga. I only have one seed making it to my final 4.
Golly.
Go ahead, Kev.
Final 4. I got Bama, Duke, Houston, UCLA.
Houston.
Okay, who's winning it all? You said, did you say Bama or was that?
Nah, So, it's the bias in me. It's the bias in me, fellas. I think we're going to get it done, man.
Jaevon, it is literally a repeat of 2021 right now. I feel the vibes.
Y'all didn't have a chance.
What do you mean, y'all? What do you mean, y'all? You're supposed to be a Buckeyes fan. What do you mean, y'all?
Not basketball. I don't support D'Angelo Russell. I stopped after that. But Turner, I was there
Greg
for a while.
Oden.
Greg Oden, I was there, but it's been a downhill, They got Tate. I don't even know his first name. He playing in the league now, but
Shaun.
It's been a downhill, man. I have to just stick to strictly college hoops with Duke, man. I have to break that tie.
All right. Well, Jaevon does the same thing with USC football and Carolina hoops. So, Jaevon, real quickly, who's your final 4 and your winner?
Final 4, I have Alabama, Marquette.
Okay, that's unanimous.
I got Marquette in there. I got Texas, and I got UCLA. I got Alabama versus Texas in the championship game. I got Bama winning it all.
All right, there you go. So we got Gonzaga, Bama, and Duke. We shall see what happens there. Guys, let's get to the women's bracket real quickly. My bold prediction for the women's bracket is Number 13 Sacramento State defeats number 4 UCLA on Saturday. You're shaking your head at me, Jaevon, but let me tell you why. Okay,
Please don't let them
because
get blown out by 20. Please don't let.
I will, Jaevon. I will bet you, Jaevon. I will bet you $20 right now that they don't lose by more than 20.
I don't. I can't.
Whoa.
I can't.
Whoa.
I can't.
Kevin, you want to take that?
Whoa.
Kevin, you want to take that? You want to take that, Kevin?
What? What? Are we
Come on,
really
Kevin.
making bets on the Hornets?
Yes,
I had to
we
Google
sure are.
who else what the Hornets were just so I make sure we were talking
Well,
about the
I've been paying attention, and I'm confident to tell you they're not going to lose by more than 20 points. If anyone, you guys can take me up on it before Friday.
UCLA second.
They're fourth. They're the 4 seed. They are a 4 seed. So we got number 4 UCLA on their home court because in the women's bracket, they play the first 2 rounds on the home team's home court, whoever is a top 4 seed or whatever. And so UCLA will be at home. Sac State is going to go to UCLA and beat the Bruins on Saturday. I'm confident enough to put 20. If Jaevon and Kevin don't want to make this bet, Garry doesn't want to make this bet, anyone else, find me on social media at Shaun_Holko. The Sacramento State Hornets will not lose against UCLA by more than 20 points. They may lose, but not by more than 20 points. I'm picking them to win the damn game. And the reason why is unlike when I covered the team and they were led by head coach Bunky Harkleroad, now they have a competent head coach in Mark Campbell. Where did Mark Campbell come from? He came from the University of Oregon when he led future WNBA players and Sabrina Ionescu and a Satu Sabali and a Ruthie Hebert, just to name 3. Mark Campbell was on that staff. Who else was there with him? Xavier Lopez was there. He's one of his assistants. Minion Moore. She has experience with the Pac-12. She played at USC, and then she transferred and played at the University of Oregon for her senior year. Oh, yeah. Also on the Sac State bench is Nyara Sabali, the 6th overall pick in the 2022 WNBA draft out of Oregon. So my point is, she's an assistant on the Sac State bench. But
UCLA
my point is
a 25.5 point favorite.
I gotta jump on that. I gotta jump on that. I haven't bet at all in 2023, Jaevon, but I might have to jump on that because I'll take the Hornets with the points on that one. But that's my point. That's my bold prediction. My point is that the Sac State coaching staff has Pac-12 experience.
I'm just gonna go off on a limb. Shaun, I'll take your bet. I'll take it.
All right, $20. There it is.
I'll take it.
All right, I got you. I will write myself on the notepad. Sac State will not lose by more than 20 points. So, Jaevon, while I'm writing this down, tell me any bold predictions you might have for the women's tournament.
I don't really have too much bold. I'm too much of a casual. I'm just gonna say UConn's gonna win it. UConn or South Carolina.
Okay, that's not a bad pick. Kevin, do you have thoughts on the women's tournament?
If it's not Stanford going back to back, I got LSU winning it.
Ooh.
So it would actually be South Carolina going back to back because Stanford had won in 2021. South Carolina won 2022.
What's Iowa's rank? What did they get?
Iowa's a 2 seed, but they are the number 1 2 seed. Iowa arguably could have been a 1 over Stanford
because old girl that had 40 the other day. I'm gonna go with Iowa.
Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, Caitlin Clark. She a dog.
So my Final Four is Iowa, and it hurt me to put Iowa in the Final Four because that means they beat my Stanford Cardinal in the Elite 8. But I got Iowa, South Carolina, LSU, and UConn. And winning it all, Jaevon, I wish I spoke before you, but I got Iowa winning it all, and it's because of Caitlin Clark. I got Iowa beating South Carolina in the championship game, taking down the reigning champions. And why? It's because Caitlin Clark is her. We talk about who is him. Caitlin Clark is her. They made a comparison a couple weeks ago, and I'm not going to be the one making it, but I'll just repeat what I heard, is that there was a sports commentator saying, is Caitlin Clark the Steph Curry of women's basketball, or is Steph Curry the Caitlin Clark of men's basketball? Someone said that. That's how fucking good Caitlin Clark is. And I think she's going to take over, and she is going to win her team a national championship because in her freshman year, she got eliminated in the round of 32 by Creighton on her home floor. She will never forget that. And I think that this is the year that Caitlin Clark wins the championship and hoists it for Iowa. George Kittle will be very happy as the Kings look like they're about to lose this game against the Bucks.
I know, I saw that.
So unless either of you wanted to give your Final Fours for the women's bracket, I think it's time to get out of here. Any final thoughts, gentlemen?
No, man, out with the old, in with the new, man. The Kobe Dean, Jordan Davis. Get over.
All right.
Darius Slay will be gone probably by the next time we record.
Yeah. Catch you all for a special episode this upcoming Thursday, March 16th. We will catch you all for a special NFL free agency edition of Stats Over Politics. We appreciate you all for tuning in here on episode number 19. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Stats Over Politics and on Twitter at Stats or Politics. For Kevin Dent, Jaevon Toddy, I am Shaun Holko. Garry Singh will be back next week. We will catch you all this upcoming Thursday for our NFL free agency edition. See you all then.